wants to tell us what's going on in the Howard 100 newsroom. Let's hear what's going on. They're always working on these interesting stories. They cover the entire universe.
The universe of Howard Stern.
What'd you do to your hair? It's different. It's all floofy. I like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's more body. It's like a commercial.
Oh, well, I got it blown out the other day.
Yeah, and you didn't wash it, so you're trying to hold on to that. Yeah, women are funny. Women who don't know how to blow out their own hair, which was most women.
Right.
When they get a blowout, then they see how many days they can go without washing their hair.
Yeah.
So they won't do anything. They won't exercise. They won't do anything. They don't want their head to sweat. I knew a woman on Long Island. This girl could not fucking blow out her own hair. And she had that frizzy, that frizzy, kinky hair. And so she would, I remember her routine. She got 2 blowouts a week.
Wow.
Right. She needed one for the weekend and then during the week.
Nice.
So well, this chick had money. Her father had money. So she would have a blowout before the weekend, like Friday afternoon for the big weekend. And then she would only take baths. And she actually gained a lot of weight. She got very heavy because she couldn't exercise.
She couldn't exercise with her hair.
Well, if you exercise, your hair's going to get all fucked up.
And you got to wash it, and then the blowout is gone.
Yeah, and they can't blow their own hair. Like, to me, if I couldn't blow out my own hair and that was my style, I would learn how to blow out hair. I would go to a salon, and rather than just always being because you're crippled. You cannot do anything if you got to go with this blowout with the hair. I would learn how to do it. I'd hire someone and say, listen, you're a professional. Teach me how to farm and I can feed myself. So this woman would, on Friday, she'd get a blowout. She'd bathe only in the tub on the weekends. And then Monday or Tuesday, I think it was, she could stretch it out till Monday or Tuesday. Because by Monday, that hair was looking a little freaky. Because it starts getting like kind of stringy and sweaty and smelly. Sometimes they even put talcum powder and stuff into their head so that, it's kind of like scrubbing it down. And then on Tuesday, they get the washout and then the blowout, and that carries them through till Friday for the next one.
There's something new now.
What do you got?
It's called the Brazilian blowout, but they put this chemical or this protein on your hair, and then you don't have to get your hair blown out for like 3 months. You can do it yourself.
Well, what you're talking about, this Brazilian thing, I know about this.
Oh.
What is this?
Yeah, I know a lot of girl stuff. I have daughters and things. And a wife. My wife's lucky. She doesn't have to, she's got straight hair. But this thing is some sort of process they put in your hair so your hair's straight. So you don't have a hard time blowing out your hair. Yeah, but it's not good. You put some fucking weird thing they stick in your hair.
Right.
And you look retarded. Poor women with their hair.
I know.
When'd you get the blowout? How many days? What's day are you on?
Saturday.
See, I know my women. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
She went to Tuesday.
Wow.
I'm trying to go all week.
So you haven't washed your hair for 4 days.
I'm really stretching it.
It looks good. I get it.
All right. Well,
so
good.
What do you do? So you can't even exercise?
No, I do. For some reason, I just put my hair up in a ponytail. It's okay.
Oh, that's gross.
And then I pray.
You need to wash your hair today.
Okay.
Today's the day. I know you love your blowout.
I love it.
Why don't you go to a beauty salon and say to a beautician, I want to pay you. I want you to be my teacher. I need an hour of your time.
They've tried. It's hard because the person who blows out your hair, they're standing on top of you.
Yeah, there's
so
a different angle.
My daughter, Deborah, God bless her, she figured out how to blow out her hair. She can do it as good as any beautician.
Yeah, some people can, but it's a difficult thing.
If she comes back to New York, I'm going to give you a lesson.
Okay.
I'm not kidding you. This kid, I begged her to be a beautician.
Really?
Yeah. She wants something more.
That wasn't enough.
Not enough. If I could blow out the way she does, I'd be charging people a fortune. I'd get all these yentas on Long Island, and I'd blow them out 2 times a week. Oh, so you got a blowout. What'd that cost you?
$40.
Yeah. So you can stretch it.
And that's on the low end, trust me.
I think stretching it 5 days is a bit much.
Well, I also have this cold.
It's kind of gross not to wash your head. They basically say you should wash your scalp every day.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
dries it out.
No. They say it's just like you wash your face every day. Wash your scalp.
She doesn't wash her face every day. She's shaking her head no.
Gross.
I don't use soap on my face.
That's why that date didn't work out with that guy.
I have such sensitive skin. I have to be careful with anything like that.
Well, I don't know. Stretching that blowout 5 days is a bit much.
I know.
So when's your next blowout? What are you going to do? You're going to blow. What do you do? Like, do you have to time it out, right?
No, I'll just do it myself, but it won't look as good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it's nice. I can see I see what you're responding to. Frames your face nicely. I look her over.
It just, when you put on clothes, it just makes you feel better. It's just the best.
Yeah, but you can't wash that head, and it gets a little itchy. You want
okay, all right, it's enough. I know. And smelly.
A little stinky.
Yeah.
But you look good. All right, anything else?
Yes, we spoke to the former executive producer for David Letterman, Robert Morton, who talked to us about what's in store for Gary's appearance on The Late Show with David Letterman on October 25th. He admits there have been many guests who come out looking like a deer in headlights, but he says Gary's in the best hands in the business with David, and there's nobody that can make a guest look better than he can. And he says the people at Letterman are fantastic, and if Gary lets them do their jobs, he'll be great on the show.
Oh, Gary will let them do their job. I've never seen Gary stop anyone from doing their job. He'll be fine. A lot of people think I'm being too mean to Gary. I was reading the email, and my world was rocked when you wrote in and said that I'm not being generous or loving toward Gary.
Really? That rocked your world?
No. I went on with my night, but I do read the email. I just want you to know that. Listening right now to the battle of two narcissists, Howard and Robin. They can't believe anyone would read a book by Gary. Have they ever heard of a memoir?
I never said that.
Do they even know? I did. Do they even know people who are not famous sometimes have interesting lives and write about them? And shockingly, those books get published and read. Sorry to burst your enormous ego bubbles, but you don't have to be a famous narcissist to be interesting. This one says, oh, my God, tell Howard to lay off Gary. He should be proud that Gary has a book coming out. Well, why would I be proud?
What?
I know I will buy the book as well as other radio fans. It gets harder to listen when he makes constant abusive comments to him. Of all the staffers, Gary is the most competent and normal. You hire such goofballs. Shall we name names? Sal, Richard, J.D., Benji. They deserve your rants, but it gets old against Gary. Just chill, Howard. And there were those who loved me talking about Gary on Letterman. This one says, Howard's rendition of Gary on Letterman was hilarious. I was laughing so hard the tears almost caused me to pull over. I wish I could see Howard's face. I heard it's priceless. Anybody who, with the free time to buy no less, read that book needs to get a life. Whatever that means.
I don't know.
Well, the guy thought I was funny. Love the Letterman and Gary stuff. Keep busting Baba balls. Well, you see that? People like it, too. Can you imagine what that's going to be when Dave sits him down for that in-depth interview? Dave, I got to tell you, I was late to work today. Did you hear that story? See, I called Howard. There was a big accident on the, what was it? On the Cross Bronx.
Cross Bronx, on the
Cross
George
Bronx.
Washington Bridge.
Yes. I'm supposed to be at work at 9, but I got there at 2.
And you get off, there's a whole world out there you know nothing about.
That's right.
Black guy walking a dog.
I was lost in the Bronx.
Really
I feared for my life. I said, I'm never going to see my book premiere.
Anyway, I was thinking about Gary's appearance. I heard a rumor that Gary's going to try and be funny on Letterman, and I think my advice to him would be,
Be Gary.
just be Gary. Don't try to be funny, because you know where that goes.
What does he mean he's going to try to be funny?
He told somebody, I heard through the grapevine.
He's working on a routine?
Well, he wants to be funny. You know, he has a couple of funny ideas.
I have some ideas that I'll give to the producers, but if they don't,
I heard you want to be funny. Don't be funny.
no, I don't want to be
You
funny.
wanted my advice. I'm telling you what I told someone in private. I said, let's not tell Gary, let him try to be funny, and that's going to be funny.
Well, it's not me being funny. It's a bit that if he wants to do it, you know
A
what
bit.
I mean?
A bit?
You got a bit?
No, it's not a bit.
See, Dave, you'll say, Gary, I understand you're producer of the Howard Stern Show. Then I'll say to you back, that's right, Dave, I'm the producer. Can you believe it with my big giant teeth? And then you're going to say, my goodness, Gary, your teeth don't look that big. And I'll go, Dave, what are you, blonde? You're going to tell me, what am I, blonde? No, blonde. Like when you can't see. Checking to see what time it is, how long it took before I made fun of you?
No, I was checking. I was hoping Adam Levine was here, and I could go, oh, Adam Levine's here. I swear to God, that's what
I got him under control.
What is this routine he's worked
What's the
out?
routine?
I do a great Arnold Schwarzenegger impression.
You want to hear Arnold Schwarzenegger? Here it is. Stay out of my way. I'll be back. Both.
I'll be back. Now, like to hear me do Christopher Walken?
Now, Gary's got some idea. He's going to do something funny. I
Right.
know.
What is this?
What's the routine you want to do with Dave?
It's not even a routine.
Yeah.
Listen, this was a suggestion.
You said routine.
I'm more
bit. I
nervous
don't
than
know.
Michael Jackson in a daycare center.
I was going to say, Howard 100 News did a story on if they made a movie of the book, who would play me. And they went around the office and they asked everybody. And I was just going to say, you really get to know what people think of you. And I wanted to
That's
put
a
up the
good one.
pictures of who they said because it was so ridiculous.
I don't think you put up the picture. Just say it.
Yeah, but just say. Well, some of the people you don't know, but if you saw a picture,
Well, who did they say? Run this by. Listen, I've been pre-interviewed by David Letterman 65 fucking times. They hate when you put up pictures.
Okay.
Pictures never fucking fly. Dave doesn't know how to work with them. Dave gets upset. Dave doesn't want to show
then the
them.
bit doesn't work.
Yes, it does.
No,
Go
it doesn't
ahead.
because you won't.
I like this bit.
You won't know who the people. Okay, one of them. Somebody
Well,
said
name people we know.
Mario Cantone was
Okay.
one.
You're right. You need pictures. For
Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite.
Right.
And then there's a guy that's really odd looking who's married to that chick Christina Hendricks from Mad Men, but you have to see him for it to be funny.
Then you got to get an ape. Like, just get a picture of a monkey.
Well, actually, and then somebody suggested Sal in the Gary mask, which I think is funny that somebody
just get a monkey.
No, right.
This
So
is the
it's just
monkey
a
that
thought.
attacked that woman in Connecticut.
Yeah, the monkey who attacked the woman in Connecticut. He's still alive.
We were neighbors.
Yeah. We were neighbors, We both live in Connecticut. Wow. I like it.
But that's not a bit, I guess. It's just
I like
it's a story.
that. You could put up the Hall & Oates guy, too. What do you think?
Oats.
I want Oates to play me. I think Dave will like that. Now, I like that.
Okay.
All right, I'm down with that. Get the pictures. Hurry up. Start preparing. When is the appearance?
October 25th.
Yeah, I'm already in front of my TV waiting for that.
I would like to
You're
see.
going to sit there until he comes on.
That's right.
I would
Don't
like to
miss
see
it.
Forrest Whitaker play me in the movie. He's very talented.
Yeah.
Are you disappointed that you can only set your TiVo 2 weeks in advance?
Oh, you know what you ought to get? Like a picture of Jerry Lewis and the Nutty Professor because he has big fucking teeth. No, but Gary can be funny. Remember when Gary was in Florida on stage? And he did his stand-up?
I don't remember that.
Sure. Everyone
It was
remembers.
right before I pushed Sal off the stage.
Right.
I can't say enough good things about this guy. You know him, you love him. He's got the teeth of a fucking monkey.
Started out good. He's yelling. Everyone's all hopped up.
How's everybody doing tonight?
All right. Here we go.
Got the crowd on your
Yeah.
side.
I got to tell you, we got an interesting group of people here tonight. We got a redneck who doesn't brush his teeth. We got a racist stockbroker. We got an old illiterate man. We got a heroin addict. And we got a Jew. And that's just these guys over here.
See? He knows how to take charge on stage.
You do the racial minority card. Racial humor and sexual and Italian and
Hey, Vinny.
slurs like that.
Hey,
as well.
Howard.
Vinny's the late-night liaison to the David Letterman
Yes,
show.
and he said he pitched Gary.
Right.
I heard that.
East Coast. I think it's a horrible idea for him to do any shtick or comedy.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something.
You haven't heard my Michael Jackson jokes.
Listen to me. Vinny,
Horrible idea.
please don't tell him that. I want him going out and doing all these bits.
You know, I mean, a lot of people are not going to know.
Vinny.
I'll whisper. Okay.
Vinny.
Don't do it.
No. Let him do it. Please.
Because it'll be funny for us.
We need the tape. We need to have that look of disgust that Dave's going to have.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
This is not what I'm doing. These are things that I would talk to a segment producer about. If a segment producer said that doesn't work, then I just scrap it and do what they
They're
want.
going to love it, Gary. They're going to love that idea.
I love that Vinny calls in as an expert. Vinny has as much to do with the Letterman show as I do.
We were debating.
You know what? They spend all day avoiding Vinny over at the
Well,
Letterman
I
show.
thought it was interesting because Vinny was in, like in one of the news segments, Vinny said he pitched Gary.
Yeah. Did you pitch Gary? Did you
I
actually?
pitch Gary big time.
To
maybe
who?
3 or 4 times a year.
Could you imagine Dave's face when Gary comes out to do his bit?
How did he get on the show?
How did he get through security?
And then they fire Vinny. Wouldn't it be great after Gary's appearance, Letterman goes, you know what? I listened to that fat fuck Vinny the first time, and look what happened.
Fire him during the appearance.
Yeah, that'd be funny if Vinny gets fired during Gary's appearance.
I'm a casualty from Gary's appearance.
I said this on the wrap-up show the other day. One of my biggest fears is that,
this is somehow not forced upon Dave, but sort of pushed on Dave. And there's
been pushing on Dave.
I don't know, friends, because of Vinny, and I'm friends with Rob. Maybe people
Dave does not buckle.
Right.
No.
And my biggest fear is that, Dave is. It's like 3 p.m. Dave goes, "Who's on today?" And they go, "So and so, so and so." Because you know how you and I have been here, and you go, "How did that fucking happen?" You go, "You agreed to it." You go, "What the fuck was I thinking?"
Right.
Like that's my worst nightmare.
Well, I see some of the people that are sitting on that couch. I go, "Wow, Gary's going to be there now." I'm having second thoughts.
But you've had second thoughts about guests after you booked them, right?
Oh yeah, Gary will come in and he'll go, "Someone so and so's here next." I go, "What the fuck?"
Right. How'd that happen?
How did I approve?
Well,
that?
first it starts where you get mad at me. You go, "I didn't approve that," and then like 2 people go, "You did." And
It's impossible.
And then you go, "I can't believe I fucking approved that."
Gary, what other ideas did you have?
A story about when I was working with Howard at NBC and some involvement I had with Dave and his organization.
That's good.
Like I'll tell them, and if they think it's a funny story, I'll tell it, and if not, I won't. But it's not a bit.
And so you got no prepared bits other than the photo stuff or anything else like that?
That's it. Yeah.
Vinny thinks you shouldn't prepare bits. I want you to go out with.
But again, you tell a producer something, just like here. Somebody called me, and I say I don't think that works.
That's a good story. When you used to steal guests from the
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Well, there's a better part to that story, and I want to save it for the show. But I used to steal guests, and then I got called up to the main offices.
Right. Gary got in trouble.
Right.
I heard the other side of that story actually the other day from the person. She still works there.
Does she?
Yeah.
Oh. I thought they were calling Howard. I thought they were calling to give me a job. I really did. I thought they had seen how good I was doing, and I got up there. They shut the door, and it was like the fucking Gestapo.
Howard, weren't they doing like a bit where they were picking up the NBC hotline, the complaint line, not even knowing people were going to be calling to complain about you because your show was on at the same time?
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with it.
No, I'm just saying, no, I'm talking about Howard now. That's more interesting. Howard, like, that was a bit on the show. Let's listen to the NBC hotline, and then Dave found out about you through people just calling in and complaining about your show.
Right. All right, hey, Vin, I got to go. You're off topic. Thank you.
Bye.
Right.
That veered way to the left.
Yeah, Ralph.
Dude, you ruined it. I thought we weren't going to say anything. Gary was going to go out and try and be funny.
But I wasn't. I'm going to talk. You have some ideas. Listen, if they call you and say, you have any stories, I would have told those stories. I would have said those don't work, and then we move ahead.
You two got into it yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah. Ralph and Gary went at it on the wrap-up show.
I was
really good.
I was feeling really bad about that, and I didn't think Gary was feeling bad too. I happened to go to the station. We talked, and I don't know. Me and Gary, I start busting his balls and stuff, and then it gets like serious and takes a really wrong turn. And I didn't mean to get mean.
Well, if you want to know the truth, like I'm with both of you.
Gary.
Yeah, but I'm with both you guys privately. And like Gary, at least once a day comes up to me and goes, "You know what? I don't hate Ralph or anything, but that fucking Ralph." And then he goes into a thing about you.
Well, he gets under my skin for certain things.
And then when I'm alone with Ralph, he starts goofing on Gary too. And I mean,
So they're both guilty.
They're both guilty. They both dislike each other, but they don't want to face it.
And you know what I thought was funny? Because Gary's talking about how Ralph has your ear, but he has your ear too.
Ralph sees me once a week for an hour at the most.
Yeah.
Gary has my ear every day. And I hear a lot more about Ralph than I do about Gary.
I don't know about that, but I'll tell you what
Gary is so paranoid that Ralph, when he gets a hold of me, fills my head up.
I am. Ralph and I talked about that.
I mean, I'll admit, for at least a half hour out of the hour, we sit there and do the Gary impression.
I told Ralph yesterday, we sat down and
as soon like I'm waiting there for you to get there, I'm doing my thing. You come in, it's immediate. It's
and
like,
I walk in, I see Ralph, I go, "Hello, Wolf. How are you? What's happening? My life's annoying today."
Like Howard, like Ralph and I made up yesterday, but we sat down and we went over all this. And I said, in my mind, there's like a little couch in your room, and Ralph's sitting there with a book, and you sit down and you go, Ralph goes, "This one's an asshole. This one's an asshole. Look at this guy." Like, but I know it's not like that.
Hey, Howard, I'm actually working on that book. Can you write a forward for it?
No. Yeah, here's Ralph. In case you missed it yesterday, here's Ralph and Gary going at it on the wrap-up show. I was very amused.
Oh, a lot of name calling.
Yeah, I liked it. A lot of shithead stuff, all kinds of things. Asshole.
Gary started cursing it. He started it.
Yeah,
I did.
Gary was really angry.
I went from 0 to 60, no doubt.
Here we go. And for your listening pleasure, what happened on the wrap-up show?
Who did you get to do the red carpet Emmy stuff?
Julie.
Okay. You also could have called me back and told me.
I said I'd call you back. I said, if we're interested, we'll let you know. And then we weren't, and I didn't.
Okay.
You know what? I got to tell you,
that's good producing. I'm trying to help you out.
Should I have called you back and go, "Gee, Ralph, we decided not to use you, but thank you"?
Yeah. That's what I would have done. That's what I think a good.
Who knows what you would do? You never held a job.
Right. But you say that too, and that's so not true.
Well, you never held a job like this job.
You just blurt stupid things out.
So do you.
Well, no, I can back my things up.
You said that you said
never held
hold
a
on,
job.
hey,
That's it. Yeah,
you said on Superfan Roundtable the other night that all I do is sleep on the job all the time.
Well,
you just blurt dumb shit out too, fuckhead.
I don't think that.
You think I sleep all the time?
There's videos of you sleeping.
No, there's not videos of me sleeping. There's one moment, fuckhead.
And fuckhead, that was also.
Also what?
You also closed the door. You put your feet up. It wasn't like you nodded off.
I didn't. First of all, I didn't
put everything but put a blanket out.
Okay, but Ralph, that's one time. You said you have many videos of me.
I'm fine. No.
Yes, you did. You just 2 seconds ago said there's videos of Gary.
Yeah.
Where are they?
And Doug and Scott
again, you wouldn't know. You've never had. You haven't had to be at a job since you were in that fucking parking tent. Where we found you and the good graces of us gave you a job that you fucked up at Channel 9 and we continue to pay you.
Sporkle, Scrabble, whatever the fuck you're wasting time with.
Right.
So funny.
Oh, I'm horrible.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, it wasn't a parking tent, it was a parking booth. He was in a booth with a gate. He was the guy at the gate, like you hit the button.
You mean the gate he'd raise the gate?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Right, you had a button.
That would have been too much work.
No, he just took the money. There was no gate.
Right.
There was somebody drive up. I'd hand them a ticket, and then on the other side they'd leave, and I'd take the ticket, punch it, and charge them.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're no slacker.
No. That was the greatest job. Is outside. I'd wax my car and hang out.
These guys were going at it, man. Here's some more. Here I love fighting.
What is it that you do, Ralph, that's so important to the show? I know that you call and you tell us what we all. Hold on, Ralph, hold on. I know what you call. You call us and tell us. Hold on, I'm talking. I'll fucking talk over you, shithead. I'll talk over you. I'll talk over you. I'm going to finish the sentence and then I'm going to finish this. Hold on, I'm going to finish the sentence and then we can go. You can tell everybody here what they do wrong, including Doug, how he shoots his pictures, Gary, how he produces a show, Jason, how he runs the website. What are your major contributions?
I didn't say I could do everything better than everybody, first of all.
But you tell everyone how they do it wrong.
Right. Well, when they do, I do. So
which is often.
What's your point, though?
I think I just made it. You feel that you can outproduce the show, can be a better photographer than Doug, can do better on the website. These are all things that you can do better than everybody. But why would we know that based on your track record?
First of all, I didn't say that I could be a better photographer than Doug.
You did say you could be a better producer.
I said those were crappy pictures.
You did say you could be a better. Well, that would insinuate.
You just rattle off stuff and then pick and choose.
Hold on, Ralph. To anybody who heard that, it would sound.
Back to your first point. Let me finish now.
Hold on.
Point is like, what is my contribution to the show? I don't work for the show. I work for Howard TV, and I dress Howard.
Yeah, but if we're going to let you on, you're going to critique it.
All the other stuff I do is just
is extra. You're too good to us.
It's just icing on the cake.
All that free stuff you give us, you're too good to us to give us all the free advice.
I know.
You know what? You should bill us.
A wrap-up show.
You should bill us for all the contributions you made to the show.
I should, and you should thank me once in a while.
And then it went on even more. They weren't done with each other, these two.
Do you think Gary is a good producer?
For the Howard Stern show, yes.
So do you
By the way, I should give that tape to Dave of Gary sleeping on the job.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
Yeah.
I'll say, hey, Dave.
Here's Gary working.
How's he going to show the pitch and the sleeping all in the same segment?
You could do, you know what? You could
and
be
the
whole hour.
apology tape.
If Dave plays it right, he doesn't need a first
Yeah,
guest.
he just needs tape.
If you give him the apology, the pitch, and you sleeping in the office, I think the guy could have an hour with you.
Certainly, can you throw in some an assortment of monkey suit appearances as well?
I think if Howard calls it quits, Gary won't be able to produce any other type of show?
I don't know. I'm not going to be like Gary and throw a lot of hypotheticals in there because it would depend on the person, the situation. I don't think he could go in and produce the Letterman show, but maybe somebody's going to similar show to Howard or something, and he could produce that. I mean, obviously Howard wouldn't have him there for how many years, Gary?
26.
26 years if he was a shitty producer.
Well, but the point is, Ralph,
you're just sensitive.
Ralph, the point is,
you're overly sensitive.
I know what Howard thinks of me, and that's not an issue. We talk off the air. I know what he thinks of me. But when I hear you on Superfan Roundtable, just fucking coming at me from God knows the left side, blindsiding me.
Honestly, I was a little.
I don't know. Can you be honest?
I was a little pissed off with you. I heard some things you said about me off the air,
Like
and
what?
I'm not going to repeat them.
Repeat them. You repeat them. You repeat them, and I'll tell you if I said them or not.
No, because the person who told me, I'm not going to quote unquote out them, and that's it.
Because I don't think there's a thing that's been said off the air that I wouldn't say to your face.
All right. Well, anyway.
And I don't know if what you heard is true.
Well,
but I would tell you.
You know, things when they're said off the air are a little even different than they are on the air, but.
No, I don't know, but if you can't hold me responsible for something that you heard I said when I'm giving you the opportunity for me to tell you if I said them.
Yeah, but I'm not.
What's
I'm
going
not
on
saying,
here? You're saying that
I'm not going to say who it was and what it was. That's all.
Right, but you don't even know.
I'm just saying I was already a little annoyed.
But you don't even know if it's true or not.
What line is Ralph on?
How do you know?
I do, because I'm smart.
You're not that smart. You're 10 points lighter.
What line is Ralph on? I just put him on hold. Oh, he's not on the phone. I hung up on him by accident.
So Ralph and I talked yesterday, and he told me.
Call back, Ralph.
He told me what was said, and something I said during a break in the wrap-up show.
Yeah.
And it was something that I would have said to his face. I joked around.
So Ralph is implying that he has a mole here at the station.
He does.
He does.
Yeah, somebody's.
So when you say something off the air, he gets word.
Almost immediately, by the way.
That's helpful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very helpful.
Ralph, you have a mole?
No, I have a berry.
Right. Come on, you have a mole?
Yes, I have people who report to me.
I can't imagine what sort of
Who
a
do you
low
think
life.
it is, Gary?
It'd have to be I mean, who would pick up a phone and call Ralph and say, "Do you know that Gary says this about you?" I mean, what kind of a low
Do you
life?
have a suspicion who the mole is? Who
Yeah.
against you? You do?
I know who the low life is.
Oh, really?
I'll smoke his ass out.
Who is it?
He'll be in here. He'll come in. He knows who
Sal?
he is. No.
Jason?
No. Jason.
No?
Jason. And can I tell you what it was that I said? I joked around. Ralph was on the phone, and we were talking about the work we do, and I go, "Oh, there's a guy on line 10 who wants to tell me who to do my job who's never held a job." And so, I would say that to Ralph's face. Ralph said it was a little bit more cutting off the air, which I agree. Oh, here's the mole.
Oh, DePace. Oh.
My friend
here. First of all, I'm not a mole. What I said was exactly what you said in the same segment, that he's never held a job in his life.
Hold on.
That was it.
You told him that I said it off the air.
I was talking to Ralph, and he said that I tried to call in to agree with you about the Benji getting here at 5:30 and how Gary doesn't manage. And then I said, yeah, it's funny they didn't take your call. Right after the thing hung up, I said, yeah, why didn't you take Ralph's call that agreed with me? And Gary said, that's coming from a guy who's never held a job in his life.
So that's a mole, asshole. You're
That's
a
not
fucking gossip
mole.
washerwoman.
You said it all the time. It's like not even a big deal. That's crazy.
Scott, you literally called him to tell him what I said.
I did that, you jerk off. I called to talk to him about whatever.
Scott.
Yeah.
You're a mole.
No, I'm not a mole.
Gary said something off the
Well, then
air.
Gary's talking behind people's backs. What the hell is he?
Wait a second. It's like if we were all
You
in
little
here,
deflecting hairless bitch.
and I...
You cocksucker.
Look, he just tried to deflect. It's my fault
You're
for saying
deflecting. You're the one who just said he's never held a
Scott,
job in his life.
if
You're
you-
deflecting to
if
say
we're-
I'm the problem?
If we're in here and we're having a meeting,
Yeah.
let's say, and Gary brings up a name as a guest, and I go, I don't want that guy who wasn't that funny. If you pick up the phone and call him and tell him I said he wasn't that
horrible
funny.
analogy. That's not the same thing.
It is.
Okay,
This was Gary talking during
Isn't
a
it the
break.
same thing, Robin?
Well, this is, again, we're right back where we were when he wouldn't apologize for...
Oh, my God. You guys are idiots. You're all
doesn't get
stupid.
anything.
You're going to say that I'm wrong here?
If we all work together, and
Yeah.
Gary says something off the air about Ralph, and you pick up the phone and call Ralph and tell him what
That's
what
not
Gary
exactly what happened.
Okay, he picked up the phone and
Ralph
called
and I
you.
were talking about whatever,
You're a
and then
mole.
that just came up.
A little bit, you're a mole.
And besides, if you listen to the first clip again, Gary said the same thing
That's
on the
not
air.
the point. Ralph
we
got
know
upset
that.
about the off-air comment.
Because
and
you're
he
in-
only knew about that because of you.
Well, you know what? Then, Gary, don't talk behind people's backs.
Well, you too. Why don't I just talk about all the shit you say in the control room but behind everybody's back, including somebody you're looking right in the eye sometimes?
Who's that?
He says everything about everybody. Listen, you
Go
talk
ahead.
about this, you talk about people's angles and blah, 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 blah. So if nothing's a secret, then why are we all working together? That would be anarchy.
What's he saying about Lisa G? Go ahead. I think she looks good.
Oh my God, he laughs at her.
blow-headed
He does,
joke.
He laughs at Lisa G.
Did you just laugh uncontrollably?
I did. I was making fun that she found it so funny that she hasn't washed her hair since Sunday.
He was laughing like
she
like
laughed uncontrollably. I mimicked that. Big fucking
The
deal.
point is, if Gary says something about Ralph, in a room, and you pick up the. Granted, maybe Gary shouldn't have such loose lips. He's got giant rubbery lips. But the point is, if you pick up the phone and call Ralph to tattletale,
that's not exactly what happened.
You're a mole.
No,
he's actually a rat.
You're saying it wrong.
That's a mole.
What happened was
that's not
Ralph
a rat.
and I were having a discussion.
If Ralph asked him to feed him information, then he's a mole. But since he kind of did it unsolicited, he's a rat.
I'll mole on Gary any day I want.
I know.
Listen.
You know what, Howard? Honestly, Scott and I were talking probably for like 15, 20 minutes, and he just mentioned it in passing. He didn't call me.
But mentioning it is in passing or otherwise is sort of like, listen, Ralph, there's things that are probably said behind my back that people don't tell me, and there's things that are said behind your back that I don't tell you because it just creates chaos.
What happened yesterday? Ralph
Yeah,
came
God,
in.
you wouldn't want chaos around the Howard Stern show.
Well, you know what I mean.
Ralph came in and apologized to you?
I know. I called Ralph.
Yeah.
I called him as soon as I got off the air, and I said, because I knew he was on his way here.
Right.
And I said, hey, man, do me a favor. As soon as you get in, stop by my office. So as soon as he sat down, I said the first thing, I said, we're degenerating into a weird place that I don't really want to go to because I'm not that mad at you. And he goes, oh, my God, I feel the same way. And then it was just like.
Did you guys blow each other after this
No,
conversation?
but it was sort of cool. We sort of felt exactly the same way.
Right.
And we didn't know how it got to that place. And
So now you're friends again?
Yeah, we're always friends.
You guys really don't like each other.
The thing is, the show really brings the worst out in me sometimes. It's encouraging.
There are things you don't like about Gary.
Well, but that's okay. There's things that people don't like about everybody.
But it's not like I hate Gary. I do like Gary.
It comes off that way a little bit.
What's that?
It comes off that way a little bit.
I know. Well, yeah, because he annoys me sometimes.
And he thinks Gary's a shitty producer. He does.
I don't think he's a shitty producer.
You do.
Just admit it.
I don't know what that. I don't know when you say producer, it's such a broad term. You don't need a quote-unquote, again, producer. You don't need somebody who's going to steer the ship for you and do all that kind of stuff.
Well, that's not true, Ralph. In other words, some people need a producer. There's some radio people that the producer is more important than the talent. Where the producer says, at 8 minutes after we're going to do this, at 10 minutes after you're going to go to that, and the talent just listens. Howard really is the producer of the show, but he does need somebody to steer him and say, this is what's available.
Absolutely.
We got to do this at this time.
That's right.
You're a great producer for him. And I don't see anything wrong with saying that,
Well, you're implying that he
But that doesn't mean Gary doesn't have other talents.
It's a backhanded compliment.
It's not, though, Fred.
Hey, by the way, as long as I got DePace in here, let's get it all off. Let's get it all off our chests. DePace has been harboring a very big resentment toward Gary that he hasn't brought up on the air. Scott DePace, our director. And, you should know about this.
Well, this is where all of this fomenting unrest comes from.
Is it going back to the sleeping tape?
No.
Okay.
This is going back to, in your new book, the picture you use actually was taken by Scott DePace.
I don't know that that's the case.
That is the case. I went back, looked through my pictures. It's number 33 of 50, half of which were like pictures of lights and crap like that for our Vegas show. It's my picture.
Okay, how much do you want for it? I'll pay you for it.
And you didn't ask permission.
I did. You know what? It wasn't as if I knew it was Scott and I didn't ask permission. I thought it belonged to someone else, so I'll pay you for it. I'd rather pay you for it and not have to deal with you than actually have to fucking deal with you.
I think you said that was priceless, that picture.
Yeah.
It's your Picasso.
That's my Pollock painting.
You realize
how much for a dozen of those shitty shirts? I'll give it to you.
Now you have, and now, Gary's not only insulting you, but you could kill his whole book just by not giving him permission.
I wonder if I took him to court, what would happen?
Yeah.
You could absolutely sue him and stop the book from coming out.
That's right. You can prevent it.
I'm filing an injunction.
I did say that it was my picture.
And I really didn't think it was.
You should have checked into it. At least asked me.
But I thought I knew where it came from.
$5,000. Call the book company and tell them you want.
I'd like to see the proof of that, by the way, too. He could just be breaking my balls.
I can prove it to you. I actually have another picture I sent Howard right after. That's like same color. You can obviously tell same camera right after.
Because there were a lot of people shooting that day. How do you know that one's yours?
Gary, I remember exactly, and I looked at that picture.
If you want to go to a photographic expert, I will let you.
You're going to give Gary the picture, aren't you?
Yeah, I told.
Are you really harboring resentment? Are you really?
Where do I go? Listen, I gave Howard I said, listen, I don't want shit for this picture, but Gary's wrong again.
But
it is my picture. He should have to do something, apologize to me for how he treated me.
No, I apologize for using your picture. I apologize for using your picture without your permission. That's all you'll get from
to
me.
this day, when I drive up to the parking garage, he literally will start running so he doesn't have to walk.
No, I don't start.
Are you two really?
I talked about this the other day.
Unbelievable.
Here's what happened.
You don't want to talk to him.
Such a baby.
If Scott and I got out of the car, we used to get out of the car at the same time. Sometimes we wait for each other. Now I don't wait for him. If we got out of the car at the same time, we'd walk together.
The other
but
day,
I'm not looking
he literally was 20 feet in front of me.
That's not true.
Yes.
Well, it might have been. Why would I wait for you?
But Scott, he is so angry with you, and you still don't understand why.
No.
Because he made a deal with you that you would not use pictures of him.
Yeah, and I've explained
video of him.
And I've explained that I had
And
a
he
little to
trusted
do
you.
with that.
No, you had everything to do with it.
No, I didn't.
Of course you did.
Not with getting that tape
And
to
so
you.
did
no.
I, and so did Doug. The three of us are guilty, and accept your guilt. And you especially had to deal with Gary.
Right, you probably have the most guilt because you had the conversation with me. But we're going in a circuitous conversation because he'll just, again, tell you how it's not his fault.
Right.
But yeah, do I harbor resentment? Absolutely. Do I want to hang out? Do we talk to each other? Yes. Are we working together? Absolutely. Has anything changed there? No. But do I want to be the kind of friends I was with him? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Friends you were. You know, everyone I tell the whole story to about this whole Gary sleeping thing, they all have the same opinion that Gary always didn't like me, and it was just this.
But that's not true.
You did. Listen, you broke a trust. Gary said to you, "You're not going to use tape of me while I'm off mic," and you said, "Absolutely, I promise you." And then you broke your promise.
Scott,
yeah, but you know what, Howard? Gary created a whole deflection around that. He put his feet up, he kicked back, and he went to sleep during a big segment. I mean, that was just awful. And he managed to create this other story, but make it about Scott.
I didn't create a story. I took again. Ralph. This is why you get under my skin. So this is why Ralph gets under my skin. But okay, I never created a deflection. They made fun of me like they still make fun of me. It's in every fucking joke. It's in songs. Every time I hear it, I cringe. It fucking bothers me.
Right.
Okay. So I dealt with it. But this thing with Scott is real. And if it would have happened to you, Ralph, you'd be just as pissed. If somebody fucked you over like that, you'd be just as angry.
But he's right. You did. You
Hold on. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Ralph. I've already dealt with you. Ralph, if somebody fucked you over like that, how would you feel?
I said at the time, I'd be so pissed off. I don't like people when they record me when I don't know it, and you know that's a total invasion of privacy.
Right.
But I also would never allow a camera in my office or in my house, and then if I was going to go to sleep, I would certainly throw something over it and cover it. I mean, you're sleeping on camera. You know, you got to take responsibility for what you did.
I have taken responsibility for what I did.
And even that
Why were you so tired that day? I forget.
I ate 7 black and white cookies.
He's probably writing his book all night.
Yeah, right. He was just writing his book.
Nobody's going to read your book, Baldy.
He was up stealing your pictures.
That's it. I'm not giving you my picture. Take that back and apologize to me right now, or I'm not giving you the picture.
Fuck you.
All right, you're not getting it.
You're taking away the rights to your picture?
Right.
Sue me.
Okay, we'll be at court then. Who's your book company?
Simon & Schuster.
All right. Hope they have deep pockets.
It'll be Simon, Schuster, and DePace when I'm through.
You should have a lawyer call over to them today, Scott.
You'd have to pay for one. He didn't like doing that.
One last thing about this mole comment. I called Ralph yesterday after the show and said, listen, if that was me that you're talking about, because I didn't know, by absolutely go ahead and say that I said that, because I don't hide behind those comments.
You know what? I would have said who it was, but quite frankly, I forgot. I didn't even remember who it was.
Well, anyway, there's obviously a lot of bitterness that Gary in the morning avoids you and walks
Well,
ahead.
he does the same thing. Listen, even when we were alleged friends, he gets out of like Scott's very odd. Even when we were like buddies, if he gets out of the car 2 minutes before me, he just walks. He just wants to do what he wants. So it's not like we're a couple who walk to work together.
You're crazy.
Who do you like better, me or Scott?
Everybody, Brian, me, and Sal, we would have these walks with Gary where Gary would just take over the whole friggin' conversation. And suddenly you're not even there. He's just yap.
In my world, you're not there anymore. You're invisible, except for that fucking shining light on your head.
Gary tends to dominate the conversation, I guess.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Hey, what happened? The guys would be walking to work and Gary was the only one allowed to talk?
Yeah, and we would all sit there and look at each other and go, Jesus, he doesn't shut up.
You know what? He's being...
Hey, guys,
is that true?
That's absolutely true.
Really?
Sal and Phelan will back me up, unless they're pussies.
You know, this feud has actually gotten, it's gotten so sad that I had Gary out to my house this summer with his wife, and I said, Beth said to me, gee, maybe it'd be nice to have another couple or something. I said, I'm dying to get... I'd forgotten you guys were having a feud. I said, gee, I like socializing with Scott DePace.
And his lovely wife, Pam.
And his wife, Pam. I like them.
Fantastic lady.
Yeah. And I said, and Gary... And I went, Oh, no, Gary's at war with Scott. So I never called you.
But listen, I didn't tell you to do that. And everyone
No,
has.
you didn't.
And
but
everyone
I have
has.
to, that, you got to consider you were coming over. I'm not going to have Scott over when you're over.
But you know what? Everyone has a circle of friends where everyone doesn't get along.
You would have thought you would have thought that was really weird out of all the people if I invite Scott DePace. You really?
Oh, sure. It would have seemed like you were breaking my balls.
Right. And I didn't want to do that. I really slipped my mind. I thought, oh, we all like each other. We'll have fun together. We'll have a good time.
And it actually was for when you had all the guys out, I think. And Scott, I think, holds me. He's not mad at me, but he's mad at the situation. He wishes he would have been invited.
I knew not to have. Of course, and I love Scott.
You blocked
and you did say you would have another one, and I would be invited.
I know. I do have to do it. But I love Scott. I do. I love Scott. I love working with the guy, and I love you, obviously.
And, I want to just...
I'll socialize with you.
I got to go on record as saying, just because I vehemently disagreed with your politics doesn't mean I didn't like you before.
Now you just don't like him.
It had
now
everything...
right, because now I don't trust him.
Even about
he
the
can't be trusted.
baseball.
And I got to tell you, the mole thing just adds to that.
Right.
It was... I can only... Listen... I'm only being bad or a mole if I think I'm being a mole.
No,
I was just having a conversation,
you're a mole.
and I happen to say something that I've heard Gary say 1,000 times.
If I said something around here in private with you in the room because I trust you and I know you and you're one of my guys, you're bro, suddenly if you pick up the phone and tell Ralph, hey, you know what Howard said today in the meeting?
But you're painting a different picture than what happened. That's not what happened.
But you know what? Anybody would have handed that tape over to Gary. I'm sorry.
No, and I'm glad he did.
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
You're not a mole. You're a washerwoman.
What does that mean?
Like a gossip, like a gossipy girl.
Right.
And you're sleepy. I mean, what the fuck?
Wow, that hurt. Ooh, ouch.
If I ever were going to fall asleep at work, I certainly wouldn't put my feet up and just kick back the way he did. Like, I don't fucking care.
No, you don't fall asleep. You just leave early to play golf.
He didn't care what was going on this show. He just said, fuck it.
Don't miss a tea time.
Well, that is true. Wolf, I don't care if you need me. I got to go to sleep.
You can accidentally fall asleep maybe where your head leans back, but, man, that was just fucking...
Flagrant violation.
What?
Fuck him.
Fuck him.
Fuck him. Fuck him in his picture. You know what? I'll get every book and rip the fucking page out.
All right, if anybody gets Gary's book, what page is that picture on?
Don't know yet, but send it to Scott. I'd love to have his fucking mailbox overflowing.
He can have all his pictures back.
All right, listen,
I'm trying to think. How can maybe I could give the picture out or something or ruin it somehow. Is there any way to...
I don't know. Use your 121 IQ and go figure it out.
122. You were 121, dummy.
Oh, yeah. Dummy.
You two are too much.
See, the problem is, Howard, you love people arguing, too, and we all like to please you, so we all end up arguing.
Hey, don't blame this on me.
By the way...
To that
That's
rationale.
Convoluted. That's convoluted. Wow. Scott, Gary, Ralph, continue
Time for
this.
Gary's nap. He's got to go.
All right.
Oh, boy.
Gary had to go to sleep, Ralph says. So we interrupted his nap.
I didn't realize all the guys were like at each other's throats like this.
There's a couple of guys here, yeah. Oh, there's more that I know about of people who don't like other people.
Oh, jeez.
I don't even bring it up. Yeah, there's a whole thing. You're at work. We forget this is work and that people, aren't going to get along. I could make a chart of who likes who and who's on what side.
Really?
Yeah. It's almost like the mafia. You have 5 different families. It's very cliquey around here. All right. Like, I always thought Jason and Will were, like, best friends.
And they're not.
No.
That was a surprise to me, too, when I finally realized that they're not close.
No. They don't even like each other.
Well, Jason, I think, likes Will. Will doesn't like Jason.
Right. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But that's not even a tenth of it.
That's tip of the iceberg?
Tip of the iceberg.
There's the mole.
The mole. He said it 1,000 times. God, we've all said it about Ralph. No big revelation there. I mean, Jesus.
So you just felt like it was no big deal because he said it already on the air?
Yeah, exactly. I had called him, and I was upset with Gary for not taking Ralph because he backed up my opinion. So in the conversation, I said, yeah, Gary's an idiot. They wouldn't pick up your call. In fact, he said that you've never held that's coming from a guy who never held a job in his life, so what does his opinion count? That's why he didn't pick up the call, is what Gary said. So it totally made sense in the conversation. I'm not a mole, but fuck it. I'll mole against Gary any day of the week.
Gary, so you're still obviously very mad at Scott.
Yeah, I don't made no secret of that.
Now, do you think you would be as mad about the small thing if he didn't catch you sleeping?
Well, it's not about him catching me sleeping. It's about him him breaking
but
a promise.
if that didn't happen,
it has a lot more. It has a lot more to do with his attitude after that. Sort of cavalier, like fuck him. I apologize. I'm not wrong. He's wrong. Fuck him. So yeah, that helps. Piss me off. But yeah, no. Listen, we're all talking all day long, and people say things about each other. It's, sometimes it's in the heat of a moment. So if that gives me permission to every time I hear Scott talk negatively about someone, email them, then so be it.
What's happening with this picture? Is he going to get it?
No. I want the rights. I mean, I own it. So unless he makes good, and somehow he better figure out how to make me happy, or else it's mine.
So he doesn't necessarily have to pay for it. He just has to apologize.
I said to Howard originally, all it was I totally will give him the picture. I just want an apology, something on the air. That, half of it was in humor, but once he takes this angle, then fuck it. It's my picture. I want some serious cash.
All right, we'll see what happens.
All right.
And now he wants something for this picture.
Yeah, I called the guy from Getty Images called us. He's, it's one of the biggest photo services in the world. The going rate for a photograph in a book is $80. I'll give him $200.
So you'll be fine with paying him for it.
Sure. I don't need to be in his debt.
No apologies for it, because he said he wanted that. So.
No, I apologize for. See, again, you would apologize if I knowingly took it from his book and said, "Fuck Scott, I'm just going to use it." That would require an apology. I thought it came from K-Rock, which Howard owned the photos, and so I unwittingly used Scott's photo, and for that I apologize, and for nothing fucking else.
Scott, so I just talked to Gary,
Yeah.
and he said that he contacted a photo company, and the going rate for a photo like that is around $80, but he's willing to give you $200.
200? That's a fucking nice picture. Gary really wants that. Picture's perfect because it shows all the guys on the show. It shows Gary in some sort of position.
You don't even seem to understand the show. You just ruin everything. You got to be funny in here. I can't wait for you guys to see this on Howard TV.
Daily shows, classics, and exclusive behind-the-scenes access.
Well, that's going to be on Howard TV.
The funniest, sexiest, most star-studded network on TV is Howard TV On Demand.
What happens when Howard Stern's staff asks him the questions they've always wanted answered? It's time to Ask Howard with Rachel Fine.
All right, we're going to jump right in. I got all kinds of questions for you today.
All right, I like Ask Howard. Let's do it.
Question from Greg Carmel at Howard TV.
Look at that, Greg. Is he a handsome boy or what?
He's handsome.
Yeah, I like Greg. Greg is the guy who follows me around with the camera a lot. And a lot of people don't know about Greg is that he writes a lot of the jokes and things that we use on the show.
I did not know.
He's one of the guys. Well, a lot of the guys write for the show. Your husband, Richie Wilson, contributes a lot of stuff that they see. People don't know that. A lot of these guys don't get...
What change in your life are you most proud of? And what's the one thing that you'd still like to change?
Well, I think therapy has actually gotten me to change. And I think the biggest thing was it was very hard for me to settle down and appreciate a woman. And so rather than trying to grab every woman I could find and be on this mad rampage, I became very satisfied with what I had, as opposed to looking at what I didn't have. And I saw the constant grab at sex as almost like a childish kind of like approach to life. And it wasn't causing me that much happiness. I was actually being mean to people, and people were being mean to me. I was being used, they were using me, and I saw that whole mess in front of me all of a sudden clearly, and I was able to really focus and be a good husband now and be in a good relationship.
And is there one change you're still working on?
Oh, I'm working on a lot of changes. I'm constantly working on being a better listener, being less self-involved, and believe me, I got a long way to go. But yeah, I work on that stuff.
Richie Wilson from Howard TV asks,
aside from agreeing to do this interview, what is your biggest regret professionally?
there are some people I've said some things about that I do regret. Maybe it wasn't fair. I was very angry. I still am angry, but I was an exceptionally angry young man. I had no guidance. I had no help. I had a tremendous chip on my shoulder, and it was take no prisoners. And sometimes, like with Soupy Sales, for example, that wasn't fair. I felt that I don't know what my anger was. It wasn't really towards Soupy. It was more anger, an insatiable urge to be heard, to be listened to by management, almost irrational. So when I saw something else going on where somebody got more love from management or came in and got something, I was like a hungry bear that was going to knock someone out of the way. And so I did do some things I do regret that I don't think were appropriate. But, you know, maybe that's just the way it had to be. So that's that.
Thanks so much for taking the time to sit down with us today. This was very informative.
Wow, it was so wonderful. What a show, Ask Howard. And what production values. Look at it, 2 chairs and a screen.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Hey now. You don't even seem to understand the show. You just ruin everything. You got to be funny in here. I can't wait for you guys to see this on Howard TV.
Daily shows, classics, and exclusive behind-the-scenes access.
Well, that's going to be on Howard TV.
The funniest, sexiest, most star-studded network on TV is Howard TV On Demand.
What happens when Howard Stern's staff asks him the questions they've always wanted answered? It's time to Ask Howard with Rachel Fine.
All right, we're going to jump right in. I got all kinds of questions for you today.
All right, I like Ask Howard. Let's do it.
Question from Greg Carmel at Howard TV.
Look at that, Greg. Is he a handsome boy or what?
He's handsome.
Yeah, I like Greg. Greg is the guy who follows me around with the camera a lot. And a lot of people don't know about Greg is that he writes a lot of the jokes and things that we use on the show.
I did not know
He's one
that.
of the guys. Well, a lot of the guys write for the show. Your husband, Richie Wilson, contributes a lot of stuff that they see. You know, people don't know that. A lot of these guys don't get credit for writing some of the stuff.
Well, he had a question for you. Here it is.
Who do you think will have the most successful career after you retire?
I think they'll all be lost without me. But that's the way I need to think. Who would have a successful career? You know, you never know. We had, you know, Gary will tell you this right away. There was a guy, Mitch Fattel, who used to be our intern, and now he's a very successful comedian. You don't know who's going to be the most successful. I happen to think the people who work with me are incredibly skilled. I think Gary is a great executive producer and only gets better and better. So I think anyone would be lucky to have him working somehow in their organization. You know what I think of Fred. You know what I think of Robin. I think they're big talents. I think they can do just fine without me. Benji is an excellent writer. I think he can do really well. I think he could find work. And you know, these people wouldn't be working for me if I didn't think they were valuable.
Sure. Is there anyone you worry about, particularly when you're going off the air?
I worry about JD. Not that I don't think JD couldn't find a job. I think he could. But when I see JD, I find him so, he's almost like one of those kittens I'm fostering right now. It's like, I find him heartbreaking. When I look into his eyes, I find him heartbreaking. I want to give him a big hug. I don't think he's had that. And I do worry about it. I worry about all the guys who work for me. I think I might have even gotten out of radio at some point, but I feel very dedicated to this group of people. And I would actually be upset to break up the group because they're so dedicated and so talented. I really feel that way.
Next question is from John Hine.
What change in your life are you most proud of? And what's the one thing that you'd still like to change?
Well, I think therapy has actually gotten me to change. And I think the biggest thing was it was very hard for me to settle down and appreciate a woman. And so rather than trying to grab every woman I could find and be on this mad fucking rampage, I became very satisfied with what I had, as opposed to looking at what I didn't have. And I saw the constant grab at sex as almost like a childish kind of like approach to life. And it wasn't causing me that much happiness. I was actually being mean to people, and people were being mean to me. I was being used, they were using me, and I saw that whole mess in front of me all of a sudden clearly. And I was able to really focus and be a good husband now and be in a good relationship.
And is there one change you're still working on?
Oh, I'm working on a lot of changes. I'm constantly working on being a better listener, being less self-involved. And believe me, I got a long way to go. But yeah, I work on that stuff.
Richie Wilson from Howard TV asks,
aside from agreeing to do this interview, what is your biggest regret professionally?
There are some people I've said some things about that I do regret. Maybe it wasn't fair. I was very angry. I still am angry, but I was an exceptionally angry young man. I had no guidance. I had no help. I had a tremendous chip on my shoulder, and it was take no prisoners. And sometimes, like with Soupy Sales, for example, that wasn't fair. I felt that I don't know what my anger was. It wasn't really towards Soupy. It was more anger, an insatiable urge to be heard, to be listened to by management, almost irrational. So when I saw something else going on where somebody got more love from management or came in and got something, I was like a hungry bear that was going to knock someone out of the way. And so I did do some things I do regret that I don't think were appropriate. But, you know, maybe that's just the way it had to be. So that's that.
thanks so much for taking the time to sit down with us today. This was very informative.
Wow, it was so wonderful. What a show, Ask Howard. And what production values. Look at it, 2 chairs and a screen.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
This is the best of the wrap-up show. A recap and behind-the-scenes look with John High and Gary Dell'Abate. The best of the wrap-up show begins now.
On Monday's wrap-up show, PGA champion golfer Keegan Bradley stopped by the wrap-up show. He's a huge fan of our show. Talked about all the Baba Booies. Talked to Scott DePace a little bit. Even said that Tiger Woods asked him, what the hell is all this Baba Booing about? Here's how it all went.
Scott DePace, why are you here?
You invited me down here.
Why did I invite you down?
Well, because Keegan Bradley's going to be here.
Yeah,
you thought it would be great for me to be here.
Yeah, well, I don't know about the second part, but Keegan is here to hang with us on the wrap-up show today, and we're going to talk to him about a bunch of stuff here. And your pal Duffner being on last week, and those tweets that you had going back and forth were pretty funny. And I know Scott is head over heels to actually meet you, but welcome. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Very cool to have you in here. I know how big of a Stern fan you are.
I'm not like a chick or anything.
You're a lot like a chick.
I happen to enjoy golf. Keegan's a golfer.
Right,
That's great. That's pretty cool.
I got word through the grapevine that Scott was very upset. I brought Keegan Bradley around on a tour, and Scott was busy and he didn't get to chat. He didn't get FaceTime.
Not upset. That's not the right word.
Bummed. Okay, that's the guy version of upset.
Opportune moment.
And then he goes at one point on the intercom. I got the video up of Keegan of Wesley Walker's. What's his name? I got the video up of Wesley Warren's balls. If Keegan would like to come back and see it, I'm like, no, I'm going to let him hang.
I thought he might like to see it. No, actually, Doug was showing a lot of different people It's like our version of 2 cups. So you watch someone's reaction. To see
He's blushing. You're blushing. You.
Hey, we all got golf groupies. Mine just happened to be balding men in the Howard Stern show.
But I would imagine you deal with groupies constantly. I don't know if they're like Scott asking you to play all the time over the air, but you've got to deal with that wherever you go, I would guess, right?
Yeah, hey, listen, anybody from the Howard Stern show wants to play golf with me, I'm in. So.
Yeah, hold on. Jackson and I are going.
Yeah, hey, I like I said, I grew up with this show, so any of you guys want to play golf? Normally I'd say no. For you guys are in whenever you want.
You don't want to see Gary swing. It's pretty bad.
What we were going to ask is, Jason was saying, like, he's taken some huge money to go play golf with regular people. Do you get hit up all the time? Is it like everybody wants to golf with you just to say they golf with you?
Yeah, I mean, you got to try to manage. You can't go do all of them, but there is opportunities that you can go out and play and make some money on the side. But
does all the golfers do it? It's like everybody does it.
I mean, people do it if you're able to. If people, hopefully, you played well enough, people want to come play golf with you.
Well, what if you have a bad round or you're not sociable that day? You feel bad about
the worst is when you go out there and these guys are all trying to beat you and they they're too excited. they're running around, but I'm happy to do it.
What was it like hearing Duffner being on the show? I mean, were you happy for him? Were you jealous as hell? Combination of both?
I was happy for him, but I was so jealous. I mean, I grew up with this show, and to see Duff on here was brutal. But I thought he did a good job. But it was tough. Yeah.
Keegan was telling me in the green room before that before you hit it big on the tour, you have to sort of drive. What do you call that? The Hooters tour?
Yeah. Well, at the time it was the Hooters tour. Yeah.
You have to drive yourself around. So that's when you were listening to the show a lot, right?
Yeah. When I was on the Hooters tour, I didn't have a lot of money, and I drove around a Ford Focus with the mirrors were taped on, the whole thing, and I bought a portable Sirius player, and you guys were the guys who kept me company. I'd have to drive from Georgia to Texas and by myself, and I just replay the show over and over. And like I said, when I was down or had a tough round, you turn on Howard Stern, and it kind of reminded me of being home, and it relaxed me a little bit.
As a longtime fan, you'll probably say Howard, but other than Howard, who's your favorite? Like, who's the guy on staff that you sort of like when he comes in and you hear him, and who's the least favorite, like you want to turn it off?
I love Sal. I get to meet Sal and Richard today. I was shocked to see how normal the two were when I met them, but I love those two. The guy who drives me the most crazy is probably Benji, a little bit.
Why?
I don't know. I feel like a lot of times he's joking around too much, but I love him too. It's tough for me to say anything negative about this show.
Now, did it surprise you that this guy over here wants to make out with me for 15 seconds so he can sit on the couch during Metallica when they come in?
Not one bit. I would be surprised if these two doing anything.
I bet Scott DePace would make out with Keegan right now.
No, thank you.
Would you make out with Keegan to play a round of golf?
No.
Hey, we'll do it anyways. We'll get it. We'll play around.
I wouldn't grab his ass to play around the golf.
Wait, you touched Casey's cock for an Xbox.
I didn't touch his cock. It was his leg, and then when I got
your pinky on his dick.
When I got to his underwear line, I said, "Oh, I feel his underwear," and he goes, "That's it, I'm out."
What about if you got to like caddy at the Masters or something like that? Would you do that?
Par 3 contest at Augusta.
I would love to do it, but not for anything gay.
Par 3 contest at Augusta. He just said
pretty good. What do I have to do?
Oh man, you can make out with Richard. I'll do it.
No. I don't think so.
I want to ask Keegan about what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, all the Baba Booies on the tour, and you're different because you're such a fan. You've actually been encouraging people to do it to you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take credit at all for the Baba Booies because clearly this show is humongous. But earlier this year, I was egging people on Twitter. I was like, Howard Stern fans, scream out Baba Booey to me. And at the Ryder Cup, which is a huge event, team event, USA, I really wanted them to yell. And I feel like that was the tournament that it really started to go crazy. But I encourage it. I love it. I feel bad for Ian Poulter saying something not to say it because he's going to get it really bad.
He's asking for it,
especially this week here in New York or New Jersey. He's screwed.
Is there anybody else that on the tour that it drives crazy, like a guy that can't stand hearing that kind of stuff?
Well, I think the majority of the guys hate it, but I love it. I encourage it. Most of the time when I get to the first tee, my player that I'm playing with will go, this is going to be brutal playing with you with all the Baba Booies we're going to hear today. So, but it's cool for me to just be a part of the show, and people are way into it.
But what percentage of them know what it is? Does like Tiger, is he aware of the show?
Well, he he's asked me that he's the guy who came. I played with him at the PGA the first 2 rounds, and he came up to me on the first tee and he goes, "There's going to be a lot of Baba Booies with you today." he's asked me before what a Baba Booie is, and
That's
you know,
great.
I most of the time they don't know, but sometimes I feel like they do know, and they're just trying to be cool about it.
Somebody had a hilarious idea at the meeting the other day. They said, Gary, you should go to this tournament this week in Jersey and yell out, me.
That's funny. But does the PGA give you guys any direction? Because, we keep reading these articles from, especially these old school golf guys, that, it's bad for the game, it's bad for the game. But then I keep reading a lot of articles. Like there was a great article last week that said Howard Stern is good for the game of golf because he's talking about it, he's bringing people to watch the game. But do the PGA guys give you any ruling on whether you should, say anything about it?
I think it's great for the game because I feel like the Howard Stern audience isn't exactly the guys that are tuning into the tour. So I think it's great, but it's definitely gotten really crazy over the past month. It's gone from a lot to even more to now it's every shot. I mean, I get 300 holes sometimes in a major tournament. For me, it's really cool because I'll get like super obscure ones. Like they'll yell out Darth Nihilus or Fire Benji or like crazy, like obscure Howard Stern. Like if somebody yelled it, no one would have a clue what the hell they're even talking about.
My life's annoying.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff.
Are there any other Stern fans on the tour?
There are for sure, but
closeted.
Closeted. Actually, on my PGA Tour profile, I list Howard as one of my idols and one of my favorite things. And I guess our publicist for our agency, or I don't even know if that's what you'd call him, but he came to me and he said, "Listen, I really don't think that this is a good thing. We should take him off." And I was like, "Hell no, keep it on there." So I'm very proud of being a Howard Stern fan.
And when you guys are playing, I mean, you're pros. You're blocking most of that stuff out, I would imagine. I know it's affected some guys maybe once in a while, like it was written about Sergio and a lot of, but when you're playing, you're in the moment, and I guess you love it because afterwards you kind of take it as a congratulatory thing. So I would imagine it's not as distracting to you as it may be to other people. Or is it not at all because you're so focused on what's going on?
I don't find it distracting at all. I feel like if people are talking about it, they're going to get distracted by it. People wait till you hit. And even if they don't wait till you hit, if you're not focused in enough and hear that, you're in deep trouble anyways. So I think they're fine.
We were talking about this last week. I don't want to get too deep into it, but do you think that golf is like baseball? In other words, if somebody's throwing a 100-mile-an-hour fastball to Big Papi, everybody's cheering, right? He can block that out. Do you think that that it's just too because of too old school? Do you think that one day people will yell during an entire golf tournament, and should it matter?
Well, that's the thing. If we grew up with golf where people were yelling and stuff, it wouldn't be that bad. It's just like if one person yells, it could screw you up. If everybody was yelling, it'd be totally fine.
Like white noise.
I think it'd be great. There's certain tournaments like in Phoenix, it's crazy, and it's kind of like that.
I can't imagine when the Ryder Cup comes out to Bethpage, that's going to be nuts here. Because I'm guessing Philly, Long Island, around here, that's where you hear it because that's like the heart of the Stern Show crew.
Yeah, I get it the most in the Northeast, but I get it all over. I mean, I got him at the British Open in Scotland.
What?
I mean,
we were saying Baba Booey isn't a thing till it gets to the British Open. It got there?
It got to the British Open. That was when Howard did his golf video.
Right.
And I did an interview with Lisa G over in Scotland, and people were screaming it there. I mean, it's an awesome thing. I love it. I'm trying to encourage him to do it more and more.
Let's talk about that video. Can he hit a ball 300 yards?
Come on, be honest.
Well, Howard's my idol. If anybody could do it, it's him. Put it that way.
You sound like a North Korean.
Yeah.
Because Scott here insists there's no way he's hitting it.
I'm putting that thing at 160 yards.
I'm too scared to go against Howard, but I put it this way. I couldn't see where it ended up. It'd be very difficult for him to do that.
Now, Whack Packers, you got a favorite there?
I'm from Vermont, so Bigfoot's my favorite. I absolutely love him, but you know who I love, we haven't heard in a while, is Crazy Alice. Is she still around? Or?
She is. I don't know what she's up to.
Yeah, I recently on the satellite years, I was hearing some Artie versus Crazy Alice clips that I just loved. I love her.
Frank in Jersey, welcome to the wrap-up show. Frank, are you there? All right, Frank sounds like Robin this morning. Gary, what happened with Robin and the ISDN, and how would you explain Scott's explanation of the problem?
Scott Salem.
Yes, Scott Salem.
What happened? What happened was the box that we used to transmit to got fried, which can happen. there were a couple of mistakes made along the line, but I think today was a prime example of, and I think Jim McClure got to see it firsthand, of how Scott has one gear. That's it. The place is fucking burning down. He moves at the same rate.
Can I? One of the best things ever was, when we worked at K-Rock, Scott, the engineer's studio, was as far from our on-air studio as could be. And one of the things that Gary changed when we came here was that he made sure Scott had the closest office to the studio because Scott walks so slowly.
But you've seen it. You've seen it, right?
Oh my God! It's infuriating, man. It is like a shuffle. It's like he's slow. My wife accuses me of somehow slowing down when I walk across the street. She's like, it's like you want to be hit. That's what Scott does on the way to the studio. It's like a slow shuffle.
The story where Evan was trying to fix something. He goes,
Easy,
whoa,
The show was about to start, and Evan's running around like a maniac trying to get it fixed. And Scott goes, "Slow down, Evan. Easy, Evan. Easy."
But anyway, so Rob was on the phone for the first 2 hours, and I have to say, considering what happened, we, our staff recovered pretty nicely. I mean, we got her on pretty quickly because she wasn't around the corner.
Did you expect Howard to freak out a lot more than he did?
I expected Howard to really freak out, and I didn't. I couldn't really blame him. But you know what? He sort of put it out of his head. He moved ahead with the show. Rob was on the phone. It wasn't that bad, and we got it rectified. Actually, I gave Howard an ETA of 8 o'clock. I think we got it fixed by 7:40.
Keegan, did you stay away from Scott's studio there and avoid the black cloud?
One of the coolest things about coming up here is seeing how close everybody is together. Because when I'm listening and you're hearing stuff going on, it's amazing how everyone's in a room together. Scott's here, Sal's there. I got to meet Scott. He didn't stand up. He just gave me a wave from a distance.
Did you go in his room though?
I'm not going in there before the Barclays next week.
And do you think Scott is competent at what he does and everyone breaks his balls, or do you think that he's just not very good at what he does and he has no sense of putting you on the spot, but he has no sort of sense of urgency like the guys are saying?
Well, I mean, growing up over the years, hearing the way he does stuff, I don't know. But for me, I love when Howard gets on Scott. I love when Howard gets pissed at people. I think it's the most fun part of the show.
Somebody told me a story once, and again, it talks about how like Baba Booey gets to golf, how phrases from the show get out there. Somebody said they were at a show at the Beacon. I mean, it was Allman Brothers or something, and somebody went to play the guitar that like wasn't plugged in or something, and somebody just yelled "Scott!"
But what would you do? Like, what would you do if you show up? You're at the Barclays, right? And you turn to your caddy and you say, "Give me the 9-iron." He goes, "Oh fuck, I forgot to check the bag this morning."
Yeah, he'd be on the street,
right? There wouldn't even be there. Yeah, exactly. Scott, you're a lucky guy.
Well, get down here. Let's arrange our big match we're gonna have.
I sent a note out last night to tell the three people I thought who needed to know that Keegan was coming, which was John, you, and Will. And Will sent the note back, was very excited. And now he's
Will sent me
He's too cool. He's trying to be.
He's working.
Will was the first guy from the show to reach out to me, and that was really cool. And then the night before Duffner was on, he sent me a message. He's like, "Do you know any cool stories about Duffner?" I'm like, "Oh shit, is Duffner going to be on the show tomorrow?" So I texted Duffner. I'm like, "You going on the Howard Stern show tomorrow?" He goes, "Yep." Give me. I was just devastated. So I just remembered I never responded to it because I got so flustered.
We all know that you didn't respond to him, by the way, because Will told us that you didn't respond. He's like, "Oh man, did I screw things up with Keith?"
No.
It's like that Seinfeld with Keith Hernandez. He's helping you move. He's driving to the airport. They're kind of getting there with the relationship.
So, do you have any good stories about him?
Well, me and Duff. I didn't know him at all, and then we were in the playoff at the PGA together, and I ended up beating him, and that actually, we became good buddies after that, and he's a really good dude, and I'm so happy for him to be on the show and to win the tournament, but I was a little bit jealous of him being on the show, but he claims to be a big fan. I don't know. I don't want to think that he is, but maybe he is.
Are you the guy that started with a Duffnering?
Yeah, I did. He posted a picture of him at some school looking like Duffner, sitting there like a sloth. And I said for people to send in pictures of him doing a Duffner, and I called it Duffnering, and then it went global. It started trending everywhere.
Well, Keegan said he felt bad. He didn't hit you back up when you hit him up when Duffner came in.
Well, it's a funny thing because, I wrote him, and then I'm like, oh, shit, maybe he doesn't know that he's coming on the show, and, like, Duffner wanted to keep it a secret. Like, Keegan just tunes in one day, and there he is. But it's all good.
Yeah, I was devastated. I got too flustered. I forgot to text him back. I actually I set my alarm in the morning to listen to the show, and I turn on my Sirius radio in my house, and it says Howard Stern Show with PGA champ Jason Duffner.
Well, I was telling Keegan, like, it really was sort of like the perfect storm of everything because all the Baba Booies were happening. I was like, if Keegan would have won the tournament, he'd have been in. Anybody who won the tournament would have been our guest because it was just this interesting time of for golf for the show.
But Gary can tell I was pushing hard for you to come in.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I get it.
What how many golfers have we had on the show? John Daly, and we didn't have Daly on because he was a golfer. We had him on because he's crazy.
He was great because the first thing he got to the green room and he goes, "You got any beer?" And we had a beer, so we got him on.
I think he's one of the only people who ever smoked in the studio.
Yeah. He was one of the first serious guests, wasn't he? Wasn't it
He was
early
serious.
on?
He was on pretty
early on. Yeah.
And I remember him saying, like, if you were allowed to drink on tour, he would be the best golfer, bar none, of anyone, because he's just nasty, I guess, when he starts drinking.
Yeah.
Have you played with him?
I haven't played with him, but I know him. He's a super good guy. Nobody's got a bad thing to say about him, but he's had a tough career, but people love him. He gets a tons of sponsor exemption. He still plays a lot.
Chris in Connecticut, you're on the wrap-up show.
Hey, what's up, guys? Keegan, I'm a huge fan, dude. I love watching you play on Sundays, especially.
Oh, thanks, dude.
But I want to ask you, you ever crank one out to the show, either on the radio or on Howard TV?
Oh, man.
Back in your car?
Hey, listen, I'm a big fan. I don't know if I've ever done that, but I'm a big fan.
All right, thanks for checking in.
He doesn't need to
Chris.
if you've seen his girlfriend, by the way.
Did you see somebody on the tour just got engaged to Paulina Gretzky? Did you know that?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Dustin Johnson.
Dustin Johnson, right?
Yeah, Dustin's one of my good friends. So is Paulina. They've been together for a while. I was shocked that they got engaged, but he said he was going to wait till I did, but that didn't work out. It was about a week ago. So, But I'm happy.
Does that crank up the pressure with you now because he did it?
A little bit, but I'm not quite ready for that. But they're good. They're good together. They're going to be fine.
Will she slow down on all those pictures? She takes pictures like lingerie pictures all the time.
Yeah, she does.
But her dad could slow her down. But
He's tried.
It's funny because when Duffner won, I was watching the end of that tournament, and I saw his wife standing next to a bunch of the old dudes, and I go, "Oh, look at one of those old dudes got this hot trophy wife." And then when I saw Duffner hug, I was like, "Damn, that's become a golf player, you get some good looking chicks. She was cute."
Yeah, there's always something about a guy that can, like Duffner, who's not, you wouldn't call him very attractive, I guess. I don't know. But there's always something about a guy who's got a super hot wife or girlfriend that you're looking at like, what's going on here?
Exactly.
He's got something that you don't know about.
Well, it's funny because he's got a little bit of a paunch, and he's got that lax bro haircut, with the wings on the side.
Yeah, she's a super cool chick too. She's awesome.
I think she was scared to come up here because I saw she was doing all the other media tours with him, but she didn't make it up here.
I was shocked to see because I thought for sure she'd come in to see Howard. If he could call her in, but I saw she didn't come up. That was definitely planned. I guarantee.
Now, would you prep him at all? Would you tell him what to say, what not to say, or can Duffner did he handle himself well, or did he need a little bit of coaching there?
He handled himself well. Duff is an interesting guy because if he was his total self, he'd be so good on the show, and I think he was to an extent. But I was hoping that Howard, it would be like a 5-minute interview and Howard would kick him out, but he did he did a great job.
He had a lot of the PGA guys up with him, and I think that they were sort of giving him a little bit like, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. But they were thrilled. They were so happy.
Was there any fallout from Duffner calling out Sabatini like that?
Well, that was a little shocking, but that's why he was so good on the show, was he was so honest about everything. Yeah. So yeah,
we were guessing like everybody's got to hate, like to actually name a name, like there's got to be consensus there that Sabatini's just not a guy that you like on the tour, like,
right? And it's golf's so different where you don't have a team and you're playing against one specific team. You're playing against the whole field. So it's tough. Like guys that are super competitive, like Rory is, he might not want to be that friendly to guys on tour because we might go up against them on Sunday. But, there's a few guys out there that are a little different.
Is golf a sport where you need to hate your opponent to win?
Well, it's a little different, but on if I'm going up against Jason, who's one of my good friends on Sunday, I'm going to want to kick his ass. So it's different. It's circumstantial because in a few weeks we're going to be playing on the President's Cup team, which is a team event USA, and then we're partners. So it's definitely a different dynamic than basketball or baseball.
But if you guys are in the finals together, and so and say you're playing in the same foursome, do you guys is like chatting off the table now? It's like you go do your thing and I do my thing. I don't want to deal with you right now.
On Sunday, if you're going to win the tournament, probably not a lot of chat. I don't like to do a lot of chatting.
Yeah, see, that's weird because whenever I play with Will, like if a hole goes by, we don't talk to each other. It would be odd. I'd be like, "What the fuck?"
But you're not playing for millions of dollars.
Stakes I know, but I still would be like, "Hey, man, if you fuck that shot up or whatever."
These guys put $10 a hole. DePace puts down a cigar so he can pot.
Hey, Howard sounded disappointed in you that you decided not to go to the University of Texas at Austin today when they were talking about Suffolk Community South.
Well, it wasn't that he was disappointed. He was trying to imply that I was too stupid to get into anywhere else. I applied to a bunch of different colleges, and UT I got into, and I wanted to go there, but I didn't have the money, and I was going to go live with my brother and my sister-in-law, and then they moved back up to New York, and I was too afraid to go to Texas by myself. Plus, living in the dorm, I wouldn't have been able to afford that.
And Sal does think funner is a word. You know that.
Well, he looked it up on Google. Which is the be-all, end-all.
Yeah, that's all you have to say about Sal. Craig in Ohio, you're on the wrap-up show.
Hey, happy 8/19. Anyways, I was at the Akron tournament, and I saw Keegan there, and I gave him the Fire Benji, and he's really good at, like, kind of giving you a little sly look, like, I'm on to you, I know you know, I heard you, but he won't do it, like, he won't announce it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's almost like you're in, like, this fraternity or club, and, like, that's the password. So, like, when somebody yells out, Baba Booey, you kind of... You look at each other and give you like a little nod, like, yeah, I get it. Like, they know what's going on. And the cool ones are the really obscure ones, like the Comic-Con and all that crazy stuff. Like, I get the weirdest ones, and it's funny because nobody has a clue what the hell they're even talking about.
Has anyone ever yelled out Video Caddy?
I don't think they have. Now they will.
Yeah, exactly. When you're listening to the show, you want more Fred? You want to hear him talk, or you think it's the right amount right now?
I love Fred. I want more Fred. He's the only guy I got to see as I was walking out of here, and but I love him. These guys, like I said, I feel like I've grown up with this whole show and everything that goes on in this show. So just seeing Fred is just so cool.
And what about Robin? Like, how would you describe the chemistry that Howard and Robin have?
I mean, it's really cool to hear Howard talk about how important Robin is to the show, because you think that Howard would be, I could just do this by myself and blah, 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 but he's so adamant about Robin and Fred and all you guys that it shows why the show is so successful, because he doesn't think that it's just him, which is really cool.
Did you get to meet JD?
I got to meet JD. I got to meet everybody. It was so cool. Just seeing, the back office that you hear about so much on the show and all the craziness that goes on back there. It was awesome.
Gary, did JD give the cold shoulder, or was he?
Well, so here's the funny thing. So I had just brought them out. JD had his glass door closed, and I just brought Keegan and his buddy to right outside the door, and Howard had asked me something, so I had to run into my office to answer the question. And when I came back, like, JD hadn't budged. I know he can sense there's somebody out there. Did he turn around and look at you before?
Yeah, he big timed me a little bit.
How so? That's his move.
He was kind of like leaning back in his chair. He was doing his thing, and we were standing out there, but. That's how I kind of wanted JD. The big time, he makes it even better.
On Tuesday's wrap-up show, we hit a lot of different things. We talked about John Legend's performance in the studio. We talked about Alexander and the party he's throwing on the Manhattan Bridge. And, of course, we talked about wheelchair athlete Eric the Midget. Lots of topics, lots of fun. Here we go.
Let's talk about I was going to say legendary, but it doesn't make sense yet, John Legend, but what a talented, smart guy. And I know him as a musician, and I've heard him play on a lot of stuff, but I don't know a lot of his original stuff. And really good guest, I thought. Hit it off with Howard, but he's had the greatest life in terms of who he meets and how things turn out for him.
I thought Howard hooked into the right thing. He's like had a charmed life. But by the way, he's not a dick. You know what I mean? Some people have a charmed life or a dick. I thought he came across as a really down-to-earth guy. But, good-looking guy, unbelievably smart, unbelievably talented, can sing and play piano, beautiful girlfriend. His parents got divorced, but met the right people, like a really damn charmed life.
Yeah, 19 years old, meeting Lauryn Hill when she was making Miseducation. I mean, the timing seemed to work out really well for him.
I thought there was an interesting moment, by the way, when Howard said, how much did you get paid for being on that record? And he said $500, and Howard's like, oh my God. But, those are session musicians, and nobody knows if that nobody's shelling out, thousands and thousands. You know if that record's going to be a hit. For him, it was a stepping stone. But I know you think back on it like, oh, you're on that record, you must be a millionaire.
He did a couple things when he came in before the interview started. One, he shook everybody's hand that he saw.
Which went a long way with Will, who is Mr. Cynical.
That's right. And then sat down at the piano, the tuned piano. We'll talk about that in a second. Play something for 15 seconds, and you're just like, wow, this guy, I mean, he's the real deal. But what a talented guy. In terms of the piano, Howard talked about it getting tuned up this morning. Was that okay? Did that work? Did that all work out for the best?
So much angst this week. I thought this was going to be a quiet week. Yesterday Robin's ISDN wasn't working, and so I come in this morning, and Scott informs me at like 5:28 that. So when, just so people know, when somebody plays the piano, whether it's Lady Gaga or Billy Joel, the piano has to be brought in, and it needs to be tuned that morning. If you tune it yesterday, it may not stay in tune today because temperature and humidity affects it. You want it to be perfect. So we bring in a piano tuner right before the show, and they're supposed to know that they have to be out by 5:30, and it has always worked out. Today, I don't know if the guy was late or if it was just he needed to work on the piano longer, but Scott tells me at 5:28 he's going to be another 15 minutes. Now, Howard usually comes to the studio at 5:30. That time is very precious, and I'm playing him stuff, so it's hard for me to play Howard stuff.
Let me stop you. 5:28, Scott tells you it's going to be 15 more minutes. Does something go off, and Scott, you can come talk about this if you want to, in Scott's mind saying, Garrett, we're pitching stuff at 5:40. That's not going to work.
No.
Or does he put that on you?
He puts it on me. He puts it on me. So I go to talk to the guy, and the guy goes, oh, no, I need the time. So I'm sitting in there, and I'm thinking, how am I going to pitch to Howard while he's going ding, 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 ding on a fucking key like 50 times, which is exactly what he was doing. So Scott and I got into like an argument. And for me, Scott feels like I'm just yelling at him, but I want Scott to be sympathetic, sorry, any of the above.
And you didn't sense any of that coming from him?
No. It's like, hey, tough shit. What are you going to do? So we got into it today. I told him, I go, could you just shut up? Which is a terrible thing to say to somebody. I apologize to Scott afterwards. And but we finally came to the conclusion that somebody should come in and do these things at 4:00 in the morning, and they have to be clear of the studio by 5.
That makes sense. And to defend Scott for a second, he was doing his job. He was trying to get it done, but it wasn't working out timing-wise.
Right. And whoever booked it, which isn't Scott, but again, I can't think of everything. You have to think of like, hey, we got to have this cleared. Let's not cut it so close.
Frank and Comac, you're on the wrap-up show.
Hey, good morning, guys. How's everything?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. Listen, I've been a John Legend fan forever, and every single time I hear him, he sits down at that piano, he plays those big open chords. He's an aficionado beyond. And his version of Dancing in the Dark, I think, is almost as good as Bruce's slow piano version of Thunder Road. That's how great I thought it was.
I get what you're saying, and it's interesting because I think, are we still working on that special, Steve, the cover special?
Yeah, we'll have it soon.
We're working on a special of
It's the staff picks their favorite cover songs.
And one of the things that we talk, even when I remember talking about this when I worked with a guy at the record store who was a big Beatles fan, for me, a note for note cover doesn't do a thing for me because I can hear the original. So if you're going to cover something, you have to take it and make it different, and that's a really hard thing to do because sometimes you make it so different that you've now fucked it up. And so it's hard to take a song that's iconic, make it different enough and make you like it.
And you're tackling a Springsteen song.
Right.
With you as a Springsteen aficionado, if you're going to do it, you better do it right.
Well, I went out to that Bruce Springsteen Music Cares thing, and that's where I saw John Legend do it. And we have this email list of about 50 people that are all big Bruce fans, and we all like meet at different concerts and stuff. It's very strange. And it goes from, presidents of record companies to like plumbers. It's just all of us are just crazy Springsteen fans. So when I told them that I booked John Legend and he was doing that song, they could not have been happier, And I liked John's whole rap on I Did It, and I was waiting for Bruce to go.
And he heard nothing.
Because I get that. You're like, hey, I'm doing something. I think I'm doing my best. Just say something one way or the other.
Yeah, and let's give Questlove some credit here because he's extremely talented, as you know, and he did this for Fallon, and it ended up he performed at that thing you went to. That list you're talking about, though, is that like the Alexander list? Like you don't know who's on it, but then you can be invited to it?
Well, you don't know who's on it. You don't have to be invited to it. I will tell you somebody that got invited off it.
Who?
Jimmy Fallon.
What happened?
He wanted to get off the list.
Too many messages going back and forth?
Yeah, because what happens is everybody's a representative of the show. So if somebody one of the 50 people, because a lot of people go to a lot of shows, if they happen to be in Rome, then they will start by saying, hey, I'm in Rome, show starts in half an hour, and then they'll send out an email, first song, second song, third song. So I do remember when Jimmy got on the list, it was a period of time where Bruce was playing like every night. And even I would go I'd be sitting in my living room and I'd hear like ping, ping, ping. And I got to turn the fucking sound off on this.
So Jimmy bailed. And wow, that is geeky, but I get it. I totally get it.
And I don't blame him, by the way. I was almost ready to get off.
But you stuck with it.
Yeah, no, it's a good group of guys. We actually, this is how funny it is. We met, we were all at the Springsteen thing in LA, and we don't always all get together. In fact, so I don't know some of the guys on the list. So one of the guys that was with me he sent out a list. He says, if you're here, meet in the lobby in 10 minutes for a picture. And 25 guys showed up.
Really?
Yeah, it was amazing. We took a great picture.
It sounds a little bit like chess club in high school, though.
Well, at least it's Bruce instead of chess.
That's true. Do you remember anything else from that concert?
I do. Mumford & Sons did a great version of I'm on Fire. Natalie Maines and Ben Harper did a killer version of Atlantic City. A lot of people. Neil Young did a very strange version of Born in the USA, like a very funky, metally, fuzzy version. Sting played. There were some country people who got up and did one step up and two steps back. That was great. But then Bruce got up and did like 7 or 8 songs.
Wow.
Of his own, or did he do
No,
other
of his
people?
own.
I'm kidding. Krista in Denver, you're on the wrap-up show.
Hi. I just wanted to call and say I just think Howard is an amazing interviewer. And, even though there's only 2 shows a week, I think they're amazing. They're quality shows. And it's a testament to him. And it's a testament to all of you guys just keeping us entertained when you guys are there. So.
Well, thank you. I think for me, one of the great things, and I saw it this morning, was when it ends and I go and I push the door open and John Legend takes his earpiece out and everything. And he's got this look of relief, but also he's like, that was good.
Yeah.
He said, he looked to Howard. He's like, that was good, man.
Well, the other thing of course, we agree with you that Howard is a great interviewer, and you never know what kind of interview you're going to get in terms of what path he's going to take with these people, but he has the opportunity to go as long as he wants to go and explore different, and John Legend, I think he's on Letterman. I don't know if he's just performing tonight or if he's doing a sit down at the couch, but you're never going to get the length of the interview that you get from Howard. So
and the intimacy, because you can't build up intimacy in 6 minutes. It's just really hard to do.
And so the length is part of it, but the other part of it is Howard gets great stuff out of people. They feel very comfortable talking to him. And even when he was talking about Chrissy Teigen and them getting married and was he scared and this and that, I mean, you're going to get an in-depth interview versus just a quick flyover. So thanks for the call, Krista. And, that's a pat on our boss's back, I guess.
Yes.
Before we get over to Alexander and take a break, I do want to ask you about the revelation that Eric the Midget is, in fact, a wheelchair athlete. Did you have any idea? This seemed like a surprise to everyone.
I'm a major league pitcher. Did you not know that?
No, I didn't.
Just saying it doesn't make it true.
Oh, you're not buying?
Well, what was his, I mean...
He said he played some baseball. He talked about a couple other things.
Listen, there's 1,000 jokes you just teed up for me that I'm not going to do.
Okay, but... There's nothing to say that he can't be that athlete. I mean, everyone's kind of skeptical here, but...
Yeah. Well, but I mean, whatever athletics he's participating in, he's probably playing like a handicapped version of baseball, which is great. But I'd be curious. I see him, for some reason, I see him in this little miniature A's outfit with a little A's hat on.
I'm trying to picture anything that Eric could do. Like, anything.
He should be on the debate team. They could yell at you.
Yeah, the chess team, maybe, and they can all meet for the picture.
But you tell me like Eric was like the guys in, what was that documentary, Murder Ball?
Murder Ball?
In their wheelchairs?
You think he's playing 5-on-5?
I have no idea.
Well, you think he could hold a basketball?
I don't know. Look, I'm taking the man at his word, and he didn't back down from that wrestler at all. He was ready to go, maybe not on his tickets, but he's ready to attend that event and face that wrestler face to face, even if he's going to get kicked in the face by this wrestler, apparently.
Do you think that he bases that on the, like, like in the old Bugs Bunny cartoons, like you wouldn't hit a man with glasses, would you?
Yeah.
Like, do you think he's all tough guy because who's going to tip over his wheelchair?
I think that's part of it, and it's wrestling, which we know has some fake elements to it. But then
he and I aren't wrestling.
No,
and he's like, he threatens me all the time.
No, but I'm thinking more about Belzer, when he found out how real wrestling was. So that could definitely happen. We'll see. And before we move on to Alexander, we should talk about the slightly awkward conversation when Howard asked Fred if he had taken his daughter to AGT yet.
Well, which part of that do you want to discuss? I think it's funny that Fred just isn't able to answer more clearly and more easily, and then Howard pokes him because he knows he can for no other reason, and gets Fred worked up, and Fred doesn't see that Howard's just getting him worked up.
Right. Fred plans to take his daughter next month, I think, to the show.
And Howard's immediately got him on the witness stand with a fucking light in his eyes. And Fred's like, yeah, I'm going to get there. He should just go, I'm going to get there.
But you figured by now Fred would know how to handle that. He'd know where it's coming from and deal. But I wonder if Howard really cares if, like, Fred, you, Robin, other people do stop by AGT.
Probably on some level. I went there once, I'm going to be there again, but I don't know. Listen, when I was there, he seemed so fucking busy. I can't imagine that me being there made a big difference to him.
Well, tonight he's fired up about the talent. So he really thinks that this is the show that people should go see because the talent, you never know what the mix is going to be. And Fred will be there with his daughter, not tonight, but sometime in the future, I can tell you. Now let's move on to the hero of Steve Brandano, Alexander. When did he become your hero, Steve?
The minute Howard said that, I guess.
What was the basis of that? Did someone
I guess
feed him
because
that?
No, I guess just because I was doing the pitch notes with him. That's all I can go off of.
19 years old, a millionaire, although he didn't admit that, but drives a Maserati, I guess. And he is throwing these parties, and the people are picking it up on social media, but has a factory in China. The kid's done a lot for 19. And like it said in the notes, and Howard said, he could have gone to an Ivy League school and chose not to. And I can't tell if Howard is fascinated, impressed. Like, how does he deal with guests like this?
I just think Howard sort of said, hey, when I was 18 years old or 17 years old, I wasn't that motivated to do anything. I think he's sort of impressed by the fact that the kid's motivated. I found him to be very interesting. I thought he was exactly what I thought he was going to be, which is, a city kid and wealthy. And I don't think he really fully understood that he was booked on a big show. I don't think he appreciated, I don't think he did anything bad, but I don't think he appreciated, I think in 6 or 7 years he'll go, holy shit, I was on the Howard Stern show. To him it was like, of course they have me on because I'm like the biggest deal this week.
He was excited about John Legend too.
Well, there was a funny moment during the commercial. He and Howard were taking a picture, and he was very excited about John Legend. He had said to me in advance, can I see John Legend? I said, well, I don't know if he's going to be here in time. And he said something on the air, but when he and Howard were taking a picture, Howard goes, it was good to have you. And he said something like, forget you, man. I can't wait to meet John Legend.
Oh, really?
He's definitely a young kid.
Yeah,
that came across.
Exactly. He's a kid.
And knew what he was doing at a very young age when he did that levitation scam.
At 11 years old.
At 11 years old, he's scamming people with reversing the tape, jumping off the steps. But that's when JD said he became, not a fan of his. But beforehand, everyone thought JD was going to be jealous of this kid, but he didn't seem to be.
He is.
You think?
I think JD's trying to tone down his anger, but he's got a lot of it.
I don't think so. I think that, again, with JD, it's always the unwarranted fame, and the fact that this kid made his own money and is actually doing something, he just wasn't put on a reality show. I think that's JD's problem with those things.
Interesting.
Bobby, you're on the wrap-up show. Bobby, you there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
First time, long time. Just calling in, you want to know something about wheelchair soccer.
Please, explain.
Yeah, well, I play wheelchair basketball, which is totally different. Wheelchair soccer, picture a bunch of guys in power wheelchairs with like a miniature snowplow in front, and they basically push the ball around the floor.
Okay, that makes sense.
Eric could do that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an athlete pushing a joystick, okay, you're an athlete.
Right.
I play wheelchair basketball in a manual chair. That's a wheelchair. That's playing a sport. You know what I mean?
So do you think that it's possible that Eric is a wheelchair athlete, or is that an inappropriate naming for what he does, just based on what you've heard on the show?
I don't want to disrespect anybody else that does wheelchair soccer, because at least they're out there doing something. But you're sitting in a power wheelchair and pushing a button.
Bobby, here's a question. Is he losing a calorie doing that?
No, not a bit. Push up and down a wheelchair, push up and down a basketball court in a push chair for 40, 45 minutes, you're losing some calories.
Right.
But not in a power wheelchair, sorry.
Right. And like, there like the sport that probably gets no respect that people think is barely a sport would be bowling. And bowling, you might work up a sweat.
All right. Thank you, Bobby. Henry in California, you're on the wrap-up show.
Yeah, I got a question. Why are you guys picking on handicapped people? I got nephews that's in a wheelchair, and they do just fine with sports.
But
Gary's over there saying that they can't do sports. Then you got this guy that's saying that's not a sport. So what does he consider a sport?
Well, Henry, we're not picking on handicapped people. Eric is trying to imply that he's an athlete like everyone else, and he's not. He's a handicapped athlete, which isn't the same. So it's more what Eric's implying than what we're saying.
Gary's picking on Eric.
Yeah, if we're picking on anybody, it's specifically Eric, not the wheelchair community.
That's right.
No, basically you're picking on everybody that's handicapped, and that's not right.
Well,
Gary should never have said that that's not an athlete. I got nephews that can barely walk and barely move their hands, and they still, do sports. They might not be like him, but they're still just as good.
Well,
I don't
how are they just as good? I think Henry's busting my balls, but Henry, I'm not picking on your nephews. I'm giving Eric. Henry, I'm giving Eric some shit.
I don't know. You can give Eric all the shit you want. You said it to all handicapped people. That's basically what you said.
Well, actually, the last guy that was on who is handicapped is the one who said it.
Gary, would you like to clarify your statement before we wrap up here?
No.
Okay.
I think people who heard the show understand what I'm talking about.
Henry, thank you for calling in and stating your case. We're going to wrap up this wrap-up show.
David Arquette's on the phone. David, I saw a picture in the paper this morning. What the hell were you wearing?
Where was I?
You're in the Daily News.
Oh, no.
You're with some hot chick, but I don't think it's your girlfriend.
It should be my girlfriend.
Or maybe it is your girlfriend.
Yeah.
And you're walking out of a club and you're wearing like these,
I had a tuxedo on.
Yeah, but like paisley, a paisley pants and some kind
I don't know.
What kind of crazy? How you doing, man? I haven't heard from you in ages.
I'm doing great. How are you? I lost my voice, though. I was singing.
I was going to say, what's wrong with you?
Hey, what's going on? You sober or not?
I'm not sober, no.
What happened?
I'm sober at this moment.
No, but I mean, what happened? You're back to drinking?
Yeah, I'm drinking again.
Oy vey.
Is that a bad thing, or did you figure it out?
Well, it's I don't know if I've figured it out. I actually have figured it out, yes.
I always told you could have a few drinks.
Yeah, well, that's the game. I mean, you have to keep the little, the little demons.
David, what are you doing though? Are you able to have one or two drinks, or are you back to drinking a whole bottle of stuff?
No, I'm a drinker, so yeah, I drink a lot.
Oh dear.
When did you get off because you were doing pretty good.
Yeah, I know. See, my problem with being honest with you and talking to you is that people are going to take all this and just be cruel with it.
Yeah,
sort
I know.
of like what's happening with our society. Everybody's being so cruel and mean to each other that it's just sort of this never-ending cycle. And I'm kind of on a different kick now. I sort of had this really deep and philosophical moment where I figured out what this whole game is. The whole game of life, I got it.
Go ahead. Let me hear.
It's called the kindness
Tell us.
game.
Yeah, tell me that because I haven't figured it out.
Well, it's called the kindness game.
Go ahead.
And kindness is the new currency. Love is the new currency.
Go ahead.
You know, people are so cruel to each other throughout the world.
True.
Everyone is always like trying to get over on someone else. And it's really about being kinder and more understanding and thoughtful and generous. Because on one side you have violence. On one side you have, you know, sexual deviance, not like beautiful, like fun, crazy sex between two people that agree upon it. You know, you have the other kind that is forceful and taking advantage of people.
You're
On
not
one
drunk,
side, you
you're
have
high.
violence and
You're
people
high.
hurting others. On the other side, you have love. What?
I said you're not drunk, you're high.
No, I'm not.
I was going to say, this isn't helping his case.
What?
You smoking any weed or are you just drinking?
You know, I'll smoke a little weed. I mean, I don't really want to like.
Oh, my
do
goodness.
all that because the problem is people are going to take this and start talking about it.
No, what I
Talking
admire
about me
about-
and talking about each other.
Can I
And
tell you
that's
something,
the
David?
problem that's going on is everybody's talking about everybody else.
There's a lot of gossip, you're right. But you know what? I'll tell you this. I admire your honesty because so many people who, you know, go to rehab, they get sober, and then they lie when they are drinking. Like they're in full-blown fucking denial.
Right.
You're like, no, I'm drinking.
Well, there are no secrets in the world at all. You know what I mean? Ultimately, everyone knows everything. So you have to.
Yeah, I
kinda live
knew he
your
was
life.
drinking, and we hadn't even talked to him.
Are you concerned, David, that you're drinking, or are you like, hey, I think I got this under control?
You know, when I had this sort of like, I don't know, this new understanding of like the kindness game and what's going on out there.
Go ahead.
I was walking. I was drunk, but I wasn't that drunk. But I was walking back from a club in Las Vegas with my girlfriend.
Right.
And there was a guy walking in front of me who was drunker than I'd ever seen anybody drunk. And my phone was out of juice. I actually wanted to film him because it was so funny and just to like remind me never get this way.
Yeah.
But it was actually like, oh wow, and I just was watching him. I was watching him walk. And then I went to an elevator. We got on the elevator, and there's this guy there, and I was like, hey, how's your night today? He said, it sucks. I just lost $15,000. He was so bummed. And it was just sort of like something out there showing me, like, don't fall into those kind of traps.
When did you decide to start drinking again? Like, what was your decision process like? You were sober, and then all of a sudden you said, fuck this, I'm going back to drinking.
It was, you know, I'd been sober for 2 years and 4 months, and I don't know. I don't know. I just felt like it. I felt like I just needed to, I was feeling like I wasn't being that true to myself.
Right.
Like what I enjoy and this and that, and I understand like the other sides. You know, one thing is I never drive whenever I drink.
Yeah, but were you supposed to call someone when you feel like drinking, or you just said, screw this, I'm not calling anybody?
No, I had been calling them. I had been talking to, people involved in, different programs, my therapist.
And did you say to them, look, I'm starting to...
like, they're very clear about, you shouldn't do this, it's bad for you and this and that. And I get it, you know what I mean?
Right.
And, I am a wild man, so I do get out of control and, but I try to keep a cap on it. And
what about your girlfriend? What is she thinking?
My girlfriend's the coolest.
She's what?
She's the coolest. She's a sweetheart. Yeah. She supports me.
She does?
Yeah.
Will she drink with you, or does she try to say, hey, no more drinking?
No, she's cool,
Yeah. Right.
I'm trying to, not get in all that because it just feeds this beast of, people talking about each other.
Right.
And it's like whoever's sitting out there right now and you're taking notes and you're getting the transcript of this, and then you're going on and you're writing, and you're, talking about another person, and you're, trying to bring people down. It's just this disease that's infecting our whole country.
But do you think
if you look out on the Internet,
right,
and you see how mean and cruel people are, that's not who we are.
Everyone is mean. Everyone is mean.
How we're behaving, but it's not who we are. We're much cooler than that. We're much kinder than that. You know, we need to get back to a place where we're supporting each other and embracing each other and celebrating each other and loving each other.
It does seem like everyone is mean on the internet. It's true. I mean,
I'm telling you, and Howard, I really want your help on this. We need to change the dialogue. It has to, like, it's time for a new wave of love. You know, it's a new love revolution. It's got to happen. Happened in the 60s, and it's just time. You know, we're too cool of a spirit of humanity that we go around and do this. Because at my main time, you know, I might do my own, whatever I do in my own journey, and I'm trying to figure out my process.
Yeah, but what did someone say about you that was something obviously has really irked you about meanness? Like, did someone say something about you drinking or something about you personally that like what is really making you nuts?
Yeah, well, there was an article online from a certain online sort of gutter media thing.
Yeah.
That broke the story that I was drinking again. Okay, right. So they were the first one to actually report it. That part they got true. What they got wrong was what rehab I went to, they got wrong. What day I was drinking, they got wrong. They said I was drinking on Saturday, and the story they were explaining started on a Thursday. Okay, this is how it goes. I was in
yeah, but does it matter really what day you started drinking? I mean...
It does, because when they said I was, like, in Richmond, Virginia doing this thing at a strip club, I was actually at my friend's wedding in Santa Barbara where I set these two people up. Two good friends of mine. I set them up. They fell in love. And it was like, that is one of the greatest nights of my life, because I actually, like, helped these two fall in love. And, like, that is magic.
So you're upset more that they got the day wrong than the actual story wrong?
Well, I'm just upset that, no, I'm not really upset. I mean, I'm sad that as a culture, we're so obsessed at being cruel and mean to each other. And we're not, like, because that's the game. I'm telling you, Howard,
is Courtney speaking to you about your drinking, or are you upset because Courtney and you were broken up? Maybe that's what.
Courtney's super cool too, man,
right.
And everybody's getting along and understanding, and like now we're like practicing what I'm talking about. We're like being kind and loving to each other rather than everyone is, you know.
Right.
She's cool to my new girl, and my new girl's cool as my ex, and everybody's getting along, you know.
Right. Well, hey, listen, man. I know what you mean. It can get to you.
No.
But at the same point, I got to tell you though, David. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm worried about you only because, you know, I know you got a problem with alcohol.
Those things tend to get out of control.
Yeah, as long as you know. I mean, I know some guys who.
Whatever I do, you know, I'm going to do. I'm going to go through this journey and figure out my life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm a responsible person. I have my daughter 3 days a week. I'm incredibly responsible.
Right.
You know, I'm living my life, but the thing is, I'm really trying not to hurt people and be cruel and talk mean about people. And it really has to change. It's this, you know, silly game where we're all caught up, and the only thing is, like, us getting up, like, whoever, you know, me pushing my own self, and, you know, it's all ego and all this shit, like, our whole world's, like, twisted. And the fact of the matter is, it's all about love. That is the new currency. And the kinder you're going to be, the more sort of you bring your friends into certain projects, you, like, help another, the more you start, like, focusing on the love part and play the kindness game, the more we're going to start shining.
I got nervous because I read, again, I'm reading this.
Yeah.
You were on some movie, and now you're not on the movie. They
Okay, this
replaced
is a
you.
perfect story. It's the
Go
same
ahead.
people that have been up my ass, and they're probably going to write a story about this, too.
But good, clear this up with the movie thing. Now, were you fired for partying on a movie or something?
No, I was not fired from partying at all.
Go ahead.
Okay, it was this movie I was doing. We were filming in Covina. I had shot 3 days on it, and I went to the set, and I'm playing this prick, like, who's trying to sell a house out from under his ex-wife who has ALS.
Right.
A really asshole character. He's
Right.
a yuppie and all this shit. So I'm playing this character, and, you know, I didn't really get any response from the director that he wasn't, liking my performance or this or that. But I'm doing this scene, and it's feeling kind of awkward, and the lines aren't coming easily, and it's a little weird scene. And I turn, and I'm having the scene with Anthony Michael Hall.
Right.
I'm a huge fan of Anthony Michael Hall. He's a great man, a great actor.
Good actor, yeah.
Yeah, and we're having this scene together. And as I'm saying my lines to him, I'm thinking in my head, this guy would be better for the part than I am. And so we finish the scene. Everything's great. I go home. And when I get home, the director calls me and he says, David, I don't think it's working out. I'm not feeling the character. And I said, well, Carl, it's you're kind of out of left field. You didn't tell me on the set that you weren't like happy with what I was doing.
Right.
And I said, listen, even I was sitting there today and I was looking at Anthony and I said, Anthony, Michael would be better for this role than I am.
That
and
was
he said,
generous.
Yeah.
Wow. So you weren't upset
Essentially,
about it.
I got dumped on the set.
So you were all for the change. You felt like you couldn't handle the part, and that wasn't something you wanted to do.
Well, I could handle the part. It just would have been a different direction, to cut it all together. But the director wasn't happy with it, and he has his own vision for it, so I get it.
Right. You wanted to play it a different way than he did.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
But it's sad because
So creative differences.
A really sweet guy, but he might not have known he was talking to, journalists or this or that. He
Right.
told a story about me getting fired, and I feel bad for him because he kind of got caught up in the web of like this thing. And
So you mean you don't blame the director for talking to them? You blame the guy who wrote the article? Because it sounds like the director should have shut his mouth about it.
No, the director actually spoke to them. We spoke to this online company even before they printed the story and set them straight.
Right.
But they still went ahead and printed a story about hard partying David Arquette and this and that.
Yeah, because David's a real honest guy. He'll tell you what happens. I mean, he really will. I mean, he's not someone who hides from the press.
But not all the time do people know what is happening, Howard.
Yeah, well, So what happened? So how'd you lose your voice? You went out last night?
No, this was a couple nights ago. I went and I was singing with the band.
With that club you own, that thing you own?
No, it was after my club. I have two clubs now. One called Bootsy Bellows and one called Hooray Henry's. So any night you want to go out in L.A. except Mondays.
See, that's what I think did you in with the drinking. I think you were in the business of partying in clubs. I mean, he's got these great wild clubs where you go and it's a whole experience. David's got like Bootsy's is like this crazy kind of, they got all kinds of weird shit going down while you're in the club.
Yeah.
How can you stay away from drinking if you're in a club all the time and everyone's drinking?
Well, I did it for,
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. I did. And
that had to be
not the point.
You can do it. You can, it's hard. But,
You can do it for a little while, apparently.
Right.
What?
Well, 2 years is a miracle to to do 2 years and be in that business is
But,
almost impossible.
everybody's, I did it for 2 years. No, but you didn't continue to do it. So after 2 years, you couldn't do it.
It's too fucking hard.
Yeah, that's how hard it was.
it is hard. I mean, that whole place and that whole lifestyle is about celebration.
Yeah.
And it's about hospitality. And you show people a great time. You run around and playing with puppets and we're dancing around. And,
So how much did you have to drink that night?
It's hard to do that without drinking.
How much did you drink that night?
You don't have to do that without.
Well, how many drinks would you say you had that night?
What?
The night you lost your voice, how many drinks did you have?
The night I lost my voice, I don't know. I probably had about 4 or 5 drinks.
What, like vodkas?
Yeah. Yeah, vodka.
So if
and
you
I get strong drinks, and
right,
but I wasn't like stumbling around,
Right.
I had a driver. I was, I wasn't like a knucklehead.
When you look at like a Lindsay Lohan, do you think she should stop drinking?
I think everyone's on their own journey, and I'm sick of like people
making
judging
judgments.
others.
Right.
I think the only way to deal with anybody is to, have love and support. Whatever their journey is.
I support you.
I know you do.
I
love
do,
you, buddy.
I love you too. I just want to make sure you're okay here because that
No, trust me. I'm
well,
a wild
Howard,
man,
come on.
What?
It's not okay.
It's not okay. Okay, Mom. I'm sorry.
No, it's not like I want to be your mom, and I understand you're on your journey, and this is part of the process.
So do you think
But it's not
gonna help,
okay.
like, people talking about where I am or what? Do you think that's all like, so people can look at me and either compare themselves to me or think they're better
Well,
than
you
me?
are famous, so people are going to do that. I mean, that's the world we live in.
Yeah, I get it.
Listen, that's part of the deal.
Unfortunately, you wound up a role model.
Yeah, you're a role model.
Okay, well, if I'm a role model, follow me on this. It's the kindness game. We all need to be more loving and kind to each other. And I would love to put together a concert with some of the greatest music in the world and have everybody come together.
I hear Zeppelin reunion.
Whoever, I love Zeppelin. But for one, I would love to have a love concert.
You get married again?
In Detroit. In Detroit, we got to save Detroit.
Are you going to get married again? Are you getting married again?
The city in America that's gone bankrupt.
Are you getting married again?
People that are incredible, that have produced some of the most amazing music our world has ever seen.
David, you getting married again or not?
We have no plans to.
All right.
But I love my girlfriend with all my heart. She's such a sweetheart. She's so supportive and understanding.
I always want to ask this question. So after you don't have a drink for 2 years and 4 months,
yeah,
all right, when you have that first drink, what's your go-to drink, and is it everything you imagine it to be?
Not really. You know, I mean, I don't know. I'm afraid to be honest with like you and with the world because people are so cruel at this time. You know,
right?
It's really like hard.
But what can they do with honesty, David?
But yeah, it was. You know, drinking feels good.
Yeah.
You know, when you drink too much, it feels bad. You know, it's a pretty simple equation.
Right.
Well,
you know,
how
and
much
if you
are
drink
you
too much,
drinking
it'll screw
every
your life
day?
up. I mean, I know all this.
Are you drinking every day?
No, I didn't drink yesterday.
He said he's got the kid 3 days a week. You're not drinking during that.
No.
And so.
Well, you know, just
What?
Ever. I mean, I have my club on Tuesdays. I have a few drinks.
Right.
But sometimes I go to my club and I don't drink, even since I've been drinking.
I'm afraid Robin's going to go back to eating rice again if she hears this interview. Give Robin any chance of that? Because she's off rice completely.
I have not. It's been a while since I've had
How many
rice.
years?
It's not years. It's
Right.
just months.
Just months. So you could go back on rice. She's not eating any rice.
Looking at David, I can only say it's one day at a time, right?
That's right. You better believe it. Where you at? You in L.A.?
Yeah.
I haven't seen you in ages.
I know, man. I'd love to see you. I saw you briefly at that party.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even talk to you hardly.
I know. I miss
I know. You never get to talk to anybody at that party.
No, I know. Well, whoever talks to me, I talk back to. It's crazy.
I know. Everyone doesn't want to bother you.
What happened? Your
go out
girlfriend
with
moved out to L.A., so she's with you now, right?
Yeah, we live together. We moved in together.
Oh, so you're not in New York that much?
Not in New York at all, really.
What time is it in L.A.? 6 a.m.? Have you been up all night?
No. I woke up because my girl has to get up at 5 o'clock. We went to bed at 9:30.
What's she doing? She got work?
Yeah, she's got work.
Yeah, she's super hot. I saw a picture of her coming out of the club with you, and
she's the most beautiful little sweet girl in the world.
I bet she's very, very good in the sack.
She's so fun. She's such a sweetie.
Really? She's up for it all?
You
ever tie her up?
Wonderful, fun life.
You ever tie her up?
No, she doesn't like that.
Man, no one likes it. You just do it.
You ask?
You don't ask. Have you ever burned her with lit cigarettes?
No.
No?
I'm not into hurting another.
Oh, that's right. You're into the kindness thing. I forgot about
The
that.
kindness game.
I thought you were into burning people with cigarettes.
We have to have the love concert.
Right.
I shut
Inappropriate
down all
question.
my social media. I shut down Twitter. I shut down my Facebook.
Right.
Because people were too cruel.
Oh, did you? You shut down Twitter and Facebook, huh?
Yeah, people are being too mean out there, man.
Oh,
it's
my
over.
God. Yeah, I
It's
tell
over.
you. Even my so-called fans are mean. Well, you know what? I got to say, a lot of people really are nice, actually.
Yeah, there are. There are a lot of
And,
nice people, and I miss them. Like, I want to, communicate with them.
Yeah. You want to talk to people on the phone or no?
Sure.
Well, let's see what everyone's saying. I'm sure let's see if there's any nice people on the phone.
Let's see.
All right. Richard, are you nice?
Hello?
Hey.
Hello.
Hey,
What up?
I just want to make a comment, if I may, because I think David really is full of shit in many respects, and I just want to express why.
Why? Why is he full of shit?
Many respects? What?
Wow. What do you mean many
because
respects? He hasn't said that much.
He's talking about how we all need to love each other and be kind to each other,
Right.
and how everyone is so cruel to each other.
Right.
And
And
I
you're
just
doing
want
a
to ask
great
him.
job of that.
I just want to ask him how he thinks his alcoholism is going to affect his daughter, and how he feels this is being kind to her, and how this is going to affect her when
All
she
right,
grows
fair
up.
enough. Let him answer that. You know.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Let me
let him talk.
Let him answer.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Is he mean, David?
Yeah, I mean, there's a cruelness to like the way he's talking to me,
right,
and laying it all out. But I hear his point, and you know, that is part of like my responsibility of how I have to like try to, you know, keep it like under control.
That's
you know,
right.
but you know, I'm on my own journey, and so is my daughter. As much as I'm having to be, you know, her parent, you know, we all
Go
we
ahead,
all
Max.
are learning.
Max,
all,
you're
like,
on the air with David Arquette in the Bronx.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Dave, man? I got to say, I completely agree with you, man. The whole world is just crazy with social media today. It's just like a bunch of nameless, faceless people out there that can be so cruel, but if you ever to meet them in real life, they would never say any of this stuff to you.
That's a good point. Sometimes if you go knock on these fuckers' doors, I read his story. It's unbelievable. David will like this. Was I think the guy was a professional wrestler or something, and some guy was
boxer.
A boxer, yes, it was a boxer. Robin's right. And the guy was on Twitter, and some dude was calling him out and saying all kinds of shit about his wife and his kid. Fucking boxer got hired a private eye, tracks down where the guy lives, walks over, knocks on his door, and goes, "Okay, dude, here I am. Now say this shit to my face." The fucker starts crying at the door, won't say a word, and then made a public apology and said that it was all wrong what he said. David, maybe a lot of the meanness has to do with the fact that people have anonymity when they say it. They hide behind pseudonyms.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say one more thing before I hang up. Dave, I love you, man. You don't sound too good. I feel bad. I hope that you get the help that you need or whatever it is, but I just want to say, man, I'm a big fan.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that.
All right, Max. Oh, there's some nice.
You know, my voice really is. I was screaming with a band, so that's why my voice is shot.
You blew out your pipes, bro.
What?
You blew out your pipes.
I blew out my pipes.
Yeah. Hey, David, listen, I'm glad you called in because it's been way too long. I haven't spoken to you in so long. And David emailed me over the weekend.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he did. And one of these days we'll get together. If I ever go out to L.A. again, I guess.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I love to see you. I miss you. I love you.
Miss you too.
You know, I hear people. You know, I take it all in. But I am a really kind person when I do meet people in person.
Right.
And I really do want to start a new dialogue about love. It's what Bob Marley was talking about. It's what John Lennon was talking about. It's what we all need to be talking about because we're all on the same playing field. We're all equal, no matter what our problems are.
Who's more about love than me?
No matter wrong, no matter if we're the shittiest person in the world or the sweetest person in the world, we're all equal. And this whole looking up and looking down at people, it's over. You know, it's not honoring us. We're all little pieces of like something bigger. And what's bigger is it's the game, the kindness game. Whatever's up there wants us to be kind. It wants us to, you know, cultivate love. And that's how we're going to succeed in this, like, journey. And then you know what? Once we start doing that, our art's going to get better. Our music's going to get better. We're all going to start, like, seeing and talking and being more honest with each other. And, you know, I got my own problems, yes, and I will, like, sort them out. I go to a therapist. I really am working on myself. I'm trying to discover, like, what it is. This was a big part of it, me figuring out, like this kindness game. And I'm serious. I want to start this crazy game. I want to do a crazy concert that all is about love, and it's for the people. You raise the money for the people, and I want you to help. All right, Howard? I know.
Me? Help with kindness? Who's kinder than me?
Whichever way you can.
All right.
I know. Well, what you are is, like, you're amazing. I mean, you really did. You know, you were honest. That's your greatest quality. Is that you're honest and you bring out this incredible honesty. There's an intense cruelty, too, with some of the joking. I mean, you know what? You know, I forgot his name. Eric the actor. Like,
Eric the actor, yes.
Yes, Eric the actor just gets dumped on all the time, and he's so enraged about people being
Talk
so
about
cruel.
cruelty, yeah.
Yes, very cruel. All right, David, listen.
Yes.
I love you. I'm gonna come see you. I'm gonna call you.
I love you, buddy.
I'm gonna check up on you.
Thank you.
All right, and
Love you.
whatever
Love you,
path
Robin.
you take, man, I hope.
Fred, Benji, love you guys.
We all love you too.
We love you too, David.
All right, y'all.
All right.
Play
later.
the kindness game. Spread it.
No. All right.
Yes.
Later, brother.
Bye.
Bye. That's David Arquette. I'm making the big announcement. He's back to drinking.
Oh.
But I hope he's okay. That's all. You know, listen, I got a couple of friends who have all been sober and then went back to drinking.
And
some of them are doing just fine. You know, they have
And some
it under
aren't?
control, and some aren't. You
That's the question. It's which group is David in?
know. Yeah, well, only he knows the answer to that.
So, Gary, the show has been friends with countless celebrities over the years, and this phone call with David Arquette is a perfect example of getting this sort of insider access to their life. Having said that, can you kind of gauge where he's at, in your opinion, based on what you know about celebrities and problems and alcoholism?
Listen, I'm an outsider. I don't know his life. I love David. I think David's a great guy. I think that once you've gone to rehab to stop drinking, you have to not drink anymore. And I know he's on a journey, and I feel like there's a lot of rationalization going on there. But at the end of the day, he probably needs to not do this, and he's got to figure out the way that that's going to happen.
Because he's been on the show a lot, and we've sort of seen him through a lot of ups and downs and stuff like that. Where, based on that information, I know you're not on the inside, but does he sound like this is Hollywood speak with his kindness is the new currency? Is this?
Well, listen, I get the kindness as a new currency has nothing to do with whether he's drinking or not. Those are two separate issues. And if you spend time going to rehab, you're probably saying to yourself, "Hey, this isn't something I should be doing because I'm not my best when I'm doing this." So why he's throwing that out the window now, I don't know. But he's got to figure out how to get there. I guess that's his journey.
I can't wait. In the coming weeks, we have. Metallica's going to come in and perform live. I can't tell you how excited I am about that. We had a writing meeting the other day, and Richard Christie's sitting there, and he raises his hand and he goes, "I would do just about anything to sit on the couch when Metallica is in there playing. I would even make out with John Hine for 10 to 15 seconds." And I'm sitting there going, what, how does a guy forget about, how did he come up with John Hine? All right. Not only is it bizarre that he's going to make out with a man to see Metallica play in the studio, but, how do you come up with the name John Hine out of all the guys here?
Well, you should know, so this writing meeting we do in a big conference room every week, and everyone's around the table. So when he says John Hine, John Hine's eyebrow goes up. Like, who the fuck?
How did I get involved?
No one told me about this.
Yeah, right.
But I thought you can make out with Will, Sal. How did he come up with John?
I just feel John Hine would be a very funny guy for him to make out.
It would be, but to have a name, it'd be one thing to say, "I'll make out with a guy on the staff."
Right.
He specifically said John Hine,
and I don't want to do it.
I by the way, I would watch it. Yeah, right. That's the other. I don't want to do it. But
I don't want to make out.
He always says that. But he suggests these things.
Howard, it's every week when we go into the writing meeting, we laugh to see how many ideas when Richard gets up to pitch will be him
gay.
Doing something gay or naked.
It's 90% gay and naked.
Where is he?
I don't know.
Richard, come here.
By the way, how nice is our hallway and our green room and stuff look?
Beautiful.
Yeah. Hey, why John Hine?
It's just funny stuff with John Hine because he's the most.
John's not going to make out with you.
You never know until you ask.
Right.
You
just think it would be funnier. That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's just funny. If I did it with Mike Morales.
But when you say make out, you mean like tongue?
Yeah, like Lisa G and Ronnie did.
But hold on, it would be funny if you did it. Wouldn't it be funny if you did it with JD?
See, doesn't that look funny? I was trying to kiss Gary.
Wouldn't it be funny if you did it with JD?
Kiss him. Kiss Gary.
No.
Kelly, kiss him.
I'm going to choke you. He's trying to choke me.
But if you did it with JD, that'd be funny. Why not JD?
Like, I could lean in and kiss Gary right now.
But JD won't kiss.
But neither will John. In other words, there's 10
Why don't you make out with High Pitch Mike? He might do it because he's gay.
But it's not as funny.
Oh, it'll be
he's up,
funny.
Well, I'm not up for it. But
what do you mean you're not up for it?
But he's up for John. That's what I'm saying. There's something going on.
Why are you up for John over High Pitch Mike?
It's just, I don't know, something about making out with John Hine is hilarious.
He said in the meeting, by the way, he goes, I don't want to make out with High Pitch Mike. His mouth has been in some weird places.
Oh, John Hine has been in the right place.
Yeah, John Hine hasn't had like jizz on his lips and stuff.
Right. Hey, John, is there any chance you'll make out with Richard?
Come on, help a brother out, John.
I will allow you to sit in with Metallica if you make out with John Hine. There's no doubt.
And that's what makes it not a gay stunt, because I get to see a manly band like Metallica.
Are you up for this in any way?
Absolutely not.
Were you shocked when he suggested it?
Yeah, I mean, the idea didn't surprise me, but me, I guess, because it's funny that it's me, and I guess I'm safe in Richard's eyes. Don't touch me. But no, and then I was like, what's in it for me?
He must be. Well, that's ridiculous. I know. What's in it for
You're
you?
a team player. That's what's in it.
But you must be attracted to him a little bit.
I mean,
more than High Pitch Mike.
I'm not. I know nobody believes me, but I'm not a gay homosexual man. And but John is handsome.
You kind of are, though, in the sense that you would make out with a guy. I mean, that's gay.
Yeah, but a lot of guys do that, drinking just for fun and goofing around.
No.
You know?
All right. Well, anyway, there it is.
Where's his evidence?
I don't know. He makes statements that I've never heard before.
Well, a lot of my buddies.
All right. Well, go find a guy to make out with, and if you do, maybe we'll have you in here for Metallica.
Like, what about Jason Kaplan?
Jason, will you make out with him? Would you do that? If you do it,
No, I won't make out with you. I'm sorry, dude. Metallica will be here regardless.
You would make out with Jason?
Yeah, why me?
To sit on the couch to watch Metallica, of course.
All right, if you can convince him to do that, I would.
Is it wrong that I'm flattered? Because he just turned Gary down.
Right.
And I'm in. I actually feel good about myself for a second.
Well, will you do it for 15 seconds with him?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't want to make out with you.
But it'll be remembered as a great stunt. It's funny.
You'll go down in history.
I'm not looking for that.
He'll be on the front page of HowardStern.com.
Would you make out with Sal?
Yeah, but I don't think Sal will do it either.
Really? I think he would.
He said in the meeting.
Your boyfriend won't make out with you?
He said in the meeting he won't.
Oh.
Rejected.
I think he would, actually.
No, Howard, he said, Sal, come here. He says, no way. Why no way, Sal? It's the gayest stunt ever. That's gay. But you touched his taint. That's not as gay as making out. Making out is too intimate.
Will any guy here make out with?
blowjob?
Will anybody make out? Yeah, like you would. Hey, Sal, you would let him blow you, but you won't make out with him.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So if you blow Sal, you can sit on a couch.
No, I ain't going that far. I like Metallica.
I'm really confused.
Gives me a rim job.
I don't even understand
Would
the
you
limits.
taste Sal's semen? If Sal brought in semen, would you put your finger in it?
No, I'd put my finger in it, but I'm not going to taste it.
Why not? Could I put
it on a
cracker? Would you tongue my asshole, Richard?
No. No.
Will you let him tongue your asshole?
Yeah. I'll let him stick his tongue up my ass.
I like he'll do that, but he won't make out with me.
Will you stick your tongue up his ass, and I'll let you sit in with Metallica?
Oh man, that's brutal.
Will you do it?
Plus, you know he's going to take a shit and make it stink.
Well, maybe you could use shittins. It can't be worse than future.
Could I put a condom on my tongue?
No.
Oh, please.
Ah. We want you to get disease.
Richard, 3 quick jabs up my ass.
If I can put a condom on my tongue, I would.
All right, I don't want to talk about this anymore. It's just, go find the guy. Go find the guy to make out with, and then come back and see.
Well, there's a lot of guys, like gay guys, that would do it, but I just think it's funniest with somebody like John Hine.
Well, you're not going to get John Hine.
You know what'd be really funny? There's a lot of guys down at the Gay Channel do the morning show. They're all like bears. They're like big, hairy guys.
Yeah.
You see them all the time, Richard. Would you make out with one of those guys?
No, because I don't know them. I want to, know the person.
You have to know them.
Yeah.
Well, no straight guy is going to make out with you.
Yeah.
Well, Jason's a big Metallica fan. What if you got to sit on the couch too?
All right, I'm up for that.
And Jason said and if I know there's a certain song he wants him to play, like he would flip if they played this song.
You want to make out with him on any condition? Would you?
No. I don't want to make out with him for any condition. I don't want to.
All right.
I don't care what song they play. I don't care if I get to play with them while they're playing. I support your decision, Richard. And I'm a little shocked 'cause I'm usually never brought into these sorts of things. But no, thank you.
You were in the room, so you're the one I thought of.
Thank you.
One idea somebody would think might do. Would you make out with Ronnie?
Oh man, I don't know.
All right, if you make out with Ronnie.
That'd be great.
Would Ronnie?
What's wrong with Ronnie?
How about David Arquette? He might be up for it. He's back to partying again. All right, listen. Well, let's talk about this tomorrow. How's that? It's getting late.
Ronnie's a maybe possibility.
All right,
but that mustache is might be.
And what do you mean by make out?
Kind of like him and Lisa did. Tongue, yeah.
Right.
So there's got to be a time limit?
At least 15.
All right. Thank you. Please get me out of this if you don't mind.
I'll make out with you, Howard.
No, it's not going to. Would you make out with Richard so we can do this, Ronnie? Would you make out with Richard? What?
What do I get out of it?
I don't know. You want to
Kissing Richard?
Metallica?
No.
I'm a good kisser.
I can walk in here anytime I want during Metallica.
All right.
Metallica.
Metallica.
What am I going to get? What am I going to get out of it?
What am I going to get out of
Metallica.
You get a passionate kiss.
No.
From a friend.
You've always been bi-curious.
I need more. I need more.
I'll jerk you off while I do
need more. No.
Oh, so you know what we're learning from this? It's not out of the question.
Yeah, he's just looking for something more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a nice drink, kid.
All right, guys, thank you.
We'll think of a prize for Ron.
All right, good. Okay. Enough.
But you know what, Howard? For you, Richard would swallow.
For me, what?
If you let him...
Would you blow me and swallow?
He would give you a blowjob.
Would you blow me and swallow, honestly? If I let you.
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah, but I'm also saying that because I know it would never ever happen. But
I'm actually interested for the first time.
But just for the sake,
I would like it.
For the sake of the greatest stunt of all time, I would do that.
You would blow me and swallow.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Keep that in mind.
I'm good. I'm going to go back. I'm going to think about that tonight.
Okay.
All right. And throw up. Okay. Thank you. Guy's out of his mind. Wow.
Mr. Hine, stop and talk to me for a second.
Yes.
I promise I won't try to kiss you. Obviously, at this point, nothing Richard says or does can really shock you.
No.
But when it's you specifically, does that kind of like throw you off around? Have you been looking at him differently? Have you been noticing the way he's been observing you?
No, because Richard's always been that way. I think that Richard chose me for two reasons. One, so Howard would say, hey, John Hine, like it would get him interested in the bit. And two, because he knows there's no way in hell I'd ever do it. So I'm a safe choice. If he said Sal or someone who may be willing to high-pitch Mike, then there's consequences there. So it's easy to say I'm going to make out with John when I have absolutely no intention of doing so.
So you're saying he knows that push won't come to tongue or whatever. It's not going to happen.
I'm a safe choice. Now, the thing I should have done is gone in there and said, yeah, sure, let's do it. Because I would have totally thrown him off. But then I realized the consequences of saying something like that.
And you also, yeah, exactly. He has.
And I'm also not a homosexual, so that may have something to do with it.
But even still, you know that Richard, when pushed, will do it. I mean.
Oh, yeah. Richard, which is why I didn't push and will not push.
The controversy surrounding him for years has been that he's got some gay tendencies, that it's not just about the jokes and the hijinks. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah. He definitely is, I think, open with his sexuality. I wouldn't say he's, clearly, he's got a wife and he likes women, but I think that he's one of those guys who's up for anything, and because it's funny or goofy.
At minimum, he's at least bi-curious.
He's bi-curious. That's a better way of putting it, yes.
There's some things that have happened in those storage huts that we don't know about.
Yeah, and also I think Will Murray can testify to some of that bi-curiosity. Not that it might have been reciprocated, I'm not saying that, but I think Will's got a couple stories to tell.
He's been hit on.
Yes, he has, whereas I am not curious at all when it comes to the males.
Is there any price tag? You mentioned what's in it for me. Is there a price tag? We're talking...
Greg... I guess the clearest way I could put it is you could have Rush come in here, play in that studio, and I would not kiss Richard or any other guy to see it. So, and that's a big thing for me to say, as you know.
Ronnie, let's start brainstorming. What's it going to take? You mentioned the question. What's in it for you? Let's name some of your dream camps.
You know what it is.
NASCAR.
Everybody knows here what it is. Everybody knows. If you can't figure it out, you're pretty stupid.
There's one thing that you want.
One thing I want back.
A certain
plugs.
A certain tour?
No, certain plugs.
Ah. Yeah. Interesting. Richard.
There you go. He wants Metallica, I want something else.
Why the hesitation? Why the hesitation with Ronnie? I mean, he's a sexy older man, obviously. Why the reservation? Is it sort of the same as the high-pitched mic theory that tongue's been all over town?
No, it's just that I think Ronnie would get too into it, and I'd have to really do it. Like if I made out with John Hine, he'd hold back a little, and I wouldn't have to. It wouldn't be very passionate. I think with Ronnie, it'd get really passionate, and he'd pull me in.
What about Nick Rucker?
I wouldn't be able to get away.
He likes to make out with guys.
No. No
Yeah,
thanks,
he does.
Stu.
No, he does. He does.
I make out with him privately.
Yeah, I know.
We'll wait for the
I know
Christmas
you do.
party.
So
Yeah,
Richard,
I know you make out with him.
What you're saying is if you pair up with Ronnie, you run the risk of losing dominant alpha male status.
Yeah,
You might
I
get
think
dominant.
Ronnie's going to be the takeover.
I'm ready, man. But I want what I want out of it. Okay.
Ronnie,
he
you're
might just bend me over.
Ronnie, you're a tattoo-loving, skull T-shirt wearing guy. Why are you so willing to?
Because I believe in my cause, just like
Okay.
he believes in his cause.
So
I
you
have a
don't-
cause.
You don't think it speaks to your sexuality if you're willing to do
Fuck
something for
that.
a cause?
Fuck that.
Yeah, it doesn't
Fuck
make
that.
you. It doesn't make.
I'll make
you
out with
gay.
Richie Wilson too with his shittings.
It doesn't make you gay. It's just a goofy stunt.
My name is Alex Schwaferman. If you were partying on the Manhattan Bridge this past weekend, you might know me as Alexander. And we're gonna tell the story of what it's like coming out of Brooklyn and the hustle of making it to the top.
So why are you looking forward to telling your story to Howard Stern of all people?
I feel like I have a weird mind. I feel like there are a few people who understand exactly what it is that I'm trying to say. I feel like this is one of these guys that I can relate to.
All right, good luck in there today, Alex.
Thanks, brother.
All right, thank you, sir.
Xander is here. Xander is the guy that threw the party on the
Does he call
Manhattan.
himself Xander or is it
Alex.
Alex?
Yeah.
So does he call himself Alex? He calls himself
Yeah.
Alex, right?
Yeah. So he throws these parties through his Facebook page. He puts out where to go and blah blah blah. The party on the Manhattan Bridge had 1,000 people. He got arrested. Him and the 2 DJs that were on it. That's where the notoriety came from. So he's going to court in September, but he's like, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. I think the judge is going to see that, and hopefully I'll get
maybe
off.
everyone can just start throwing parties on a bridge every
I was thinking I'd throw one on the middle of the LIE.
So what's interesting about him, though, is he's a self-made millionaire.
Right.
He founded a toy company when he was 15. It's basically his biggest thing is this one plane that's like a boomerang. You toss
Yeah, I've
it.
seen that. They sell it on the street.
Yeah, well,
They just throw them and they come back?
Exactly.
He invented that?
He got him in Bed Bath & Beyond and Walmart and
30 hours.
Built his company that
I
way.
remember when I first started seeing them in stores, I was like, how the fuck did that happen?
He's a smart kid.
This kid dropped by. His name is Alex Xander. Alex Xander.
Xander?
It's kind of an interesting dude. He's 19 and he's already he's worth $1 million something bucks.
Really?
Yeah.
And nobody gave it to him? He earned it?
Hey, Alexander. Hey, man. Hey, now.
He doesn't look like a millionaire.
Are you a millionaire?
What does it matter?
Well, it matters because it's part of your story.
It's part of my story, but I don't like that. That's something that just kind of came out a little bit. I never wanted that to be like the first thing that people think of me. Oh, that kid is that kid's a rich kid.
Yeah, but it was kind of cool that you. I mean, don't be ashamed of it. You invented that little airplane thing that you throw and that comes back at you. What's that called?
Super Looper.
Super Looper. You invented that.
Yeah.
And I know those things, the Super Looper. I used to see them being sold on the street, and then I started seeing them in stores.
Yeah. I'm the one that put them into stores.
How do you get those Super Looper into stores?
Because we've got a product, Shittens, and we're trying.
Yeah, we're trying to promote Shittens. Got any thoughts?
The crazy thing is I will probably know how to promote Shittens as well.
That scoops all the fecal matter right out of your asshole. But seriously, so the plane is. Did you actually figure out the plane and how it should return to you?
It was out in the 50s, like a really Shittens version,
right?
Which was made out of paper,
right?
And I've seen it around, and I like this idea of like bringing back like old things and kind of revamping them, and so I took this item, and I saw lots of potential. I made it from a different material. We have like a secret formula for the material. It actually won't work if it's made from anything else,
right?
And so that we put it into a nice packaging, gave it some branding, and listen, it was like the top seller and. A few really major retail stores, they were selling insane numbers.
How old are you?
19.
No shit.
Yeah.
Really 19? You got a driver's license?
I believe the kid. And so you still live with your folks?
Yeah.
That's how I know you're not a millionaire. If you were a millionaire, man, you would definitely move out.
That's not true.
Really?
That's not true.
Your parents don't annoy you?
I love my parents like a lot, right? And
you can hang with them?
Yeah, I can hang with them. Listen, it's really by choice. Like I have my own office, and I have a few offices, but the one that I'm at, I spend so much time there, and I feel like if I moved out, I would not see my parents at all. Like I'm a workaholic.
Yeah, but if you want to bang some chicks and stuff, what do? You take
them to the office.
You bang chicks at your office? You got a bed there?
Something like that.
Yeah, because I knew a dude had a really tricked out office where he.
It's a pimp office.
Yeah.
It's not like a. It's not
like a little bedroom in the back of the office.
Yeah, it's not somewhere where you hate coming in. It's like it serves as an office and a hang spot. We've got like a huge terrace, and we have parties out there and stuff like that in the summer.
So you got to hear this. You know what this kid does?
What?
So all right. Did you go to court yet over your last party?
No, I'm going to go to court.
Oh, okay. So he came up with an idea. Because, like, with social media and stuff, you can just get word out that you're throwing a party, like, impromptu, right? You don't need a club. So you threw a party on the Manhattan Bridge?
Legally, you don't need a club.
Yeah, you don't need... you threw a party on Manhattan Bridge.
I did.
So how does that work? You tweet out to people, hey, I'm having a party?
Well, a big part of our thing is... social media is kind of like the starting point, but from there is just word of mouth. Right. Because there's only so much that you can do in advertisement. You can tell a person that, hey, you could have all sorts of billboards and pay for advertisement, but until your friend grabs you and says, hey man, you really need to come to this event, nothing is going to happen. So that would be just like the starting point, but from there it's like wildfire. The word just spreads and people are talking, hey, you're going to this, you're going to this.
How many people showed up on the Manhattan Bridge when you threw the party?
Well, the police say 200.
Right.
But it's very clear that it was around like 1,000 people.
1,000 people show up on the Manhattan Bridge, and the Manhattan Bridge, for those of you who don't know, has
it's a bridge.
It's a bridge, but it has like an area where the cars aren't. Like you can like kind of line up, but it doesn't seem like conducive for a party.
Right.
How do you get the music up there?
Yeah, how did you get music on the Manhattan Bridge?
It wasn't
Did you just
that hard.
pull a van like right over?
Went to Home Depot.
Go ahead.
Bought a generator.
Right.
And I have some buddies from upstate. They drove all the way from upstate. They have like a huge sound system, and they loaded it into the back of their pickup truck, and we walked it right on.
And so you set up there, and what do you put some lights up and things?
Actually, it's a walkway, so it's already very well lit, and you've got the train passing by, and so all you really need is the sound.
And what's the ambiance? In other words, it's just the cars passing by. You're on a bridge. What time in the morning is it when you start the party?
What time in the morning?
Yeah.
No, it was at night. We started at 9 p.m.
You did?
Yeah, we went from 9 p.m. until 1 in the morning.
And did you make it all the way through to 1 in the morning?
Oh yeah, we made it. We thought we were gonna make it till sunrise, but
Right.
we made it. We made it till 1 in the morning. I mean,
by the way, you realize it's crazy what you did because it could cause an accident or somebody could get hurt. You know what I mean?
In what sense though? Like I remember I was on Good Day New York, and Rosanna Scotto said, what if someone wants to get drunk and climbs up and onto the scaffold?
Right.
Well, I feel like a person should know. It's their life. They should take into responsibility whether they're at my party on the Manhattan Bridge or whether they're home.
But with lawyers, you'd be responsible.
I agree. But I wish that wasn't how the logic was. Because if a person is drunk, they should be responsible for their own lives, and they shouldn't be climbing things regardless.
Are
wherever
you
they
providing the alcohol?
No.
People that bring your own?
Yeah, the only thing I provide is music.
How do you make money doing that, though? Do you charge admission?
No money is made.
What was the idea then? Then what was the impetus for doing it?
This is, I've told everyone that this was my 5th party, but actually counting, I realized that this is actually my 7th party.
Right.
In this year.
Do you love parties?
Do I love parties? It's not so much that I love parties. It's more that I hate like New York City clubs.
Right.
And kids in my neighborhood and kids in Brooklyn in general, there's not really an alternative to spending.
Why do you hate clubs? I mean, honestly, is it because they're too corporate or something?
No, it has nothing to do with that. It's just I'm all about this thing. Like, listen, that like we're all like human beings. We should be helping each other. And
Sound like David Arquette a little bit. That's his whole thing
It's
now.
the love time, right?
Love, all about love.
Cool. It really is all about love.
Right, cool.
And
me too.
Yeah, I know.
Kindness.
And so like this whole concept that girls are getting like so dressed up to go impress guys, that they don't even care about, and these guys are trying to meet these girls that don't even want to talk to them, and it's like, but we're on the Manhattan Bridge. It's just like a total land of not giving a crap about anything.
So it's a type of person that the clubs attract. Like it's kind of like it's turned into a cliche, and now all of a sudden, when you go out on the bridge, everybody's free.
Everyone is welcome here.
It's like Woodstock.
Yeah, sure, exactly. Yeah. Actually, that was a really big inspiration. I love how that entire thing unfolded.
It just happened.
Yeah, it just happened.
So you don't turn people away.
No. No, nobody
There's
gets turned
line.
away. There's no line. The only reason anyone would ever get turned away, I'm thinking in the future, is if just the space. I'm sure they will find a way to fit inside the space, but it's just simply that limitation.
Dude, you got a lot going on for 19. I was such a fucking dickhead when at 19.
You could hardly talk.
Yeah, you must get tons of pussy, huh?
Right now, I have a beautiful girl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How long have you had her?
Like half a year.
Oh no shit.
But I've
exclusive.
Yeah. But
what is she, a model or something?
She's pretty.
Yeah.
She's really pretty.
She's
but I've never had a girlfriend before.
No.
No, first girlfriend.
But you bang a lot of chicks. I can see a kid like this, good-looking dude. He's
absolutely with money.
He's got crap going on.
Nobody ever knows like that I have any money. In fact, like when I took out my girl the first few times, I picked her up and I have this like beat up Honda Civic that I use. Yeah, I used to. You got to do a test. Like in the movie.
Oh, really?
What is that? A Bronx Tale.
Right.
He says that you got to do the door test.
Right.
If she leans open and opens up the door, she's a good girl.
So she goes out. You play pauper. You act like you're just a 19-year-old student or something.
Yeah.
You pick her up in a shitty car, and if she digs you.
It depends what you're interested in. Honestly,
But when do you reveal the office and the nice car? How long do you wait?
How long do I wait? Until I feel like it's right. Until well, listen. If I
what
was
kind of car do you really have? Like, what's your good car?
A Maserati.
Oh, look at you!
So then the Maserati comes out, and you're like, "That's kind of a cool move." And all of a sudden, you go, "I have something to tell you."
I feel like that.
It's
remember,
like Superman. Yeah. I'm Alex Xander.
Yeah, but like it depends on what your intentions are. Anybody can drive down the street in a flashy car and have everybody look at them. They're not looking at you. You could be a douchebag. They're looking at your car.
So you mean you did this whole party thing just because you hate clubs, and now you got to go to court over it? Is it costing you a bunch of money to get a lawyer and all that? It's got to be, right?
Well, I've had a bunch of lawyers reach out to me.
Yeah.
and my sister's a lawyer, and all her friends are lawyers. So, you know,
you're getting free legal representation.
Yeah, and she's 10 years older than me, so I was getting into trouble from when I was a kid. So it all turned out like very
What
good.
charges are you facing?
All misdemeanors.
Right.
Hopefully, we'll be able to knock them down to violation. So it
When are you
doesn't
going to
stand the
court?
record.
Because maybe we'll throw a party outside the court house.
I would love to see you there.
I might be throwing a party of my own. So you've done this like 7 times. You've thrown parties, but the Manhattan Bridge was the most outrageous place. But you also use like what, fields and things like that.
We've done fields, airport hangars, boats.
And tons of people show up. And how do I get on the list to find about these parties? I need to go somewhere.
It's like one of those things. It's like for those that know.
What do you have, a Facebook page?
Yeah, we've got a Facebook page, but
how am I supposed to be in the know? I'm a fucking old man. I mean, what am I supposed to be knowing? I got to get with the kids. I want to party with these 19-year-olds.
Brother, you're more than welcome.
Right? Yeah, definitely. I can fucking get laid over there, right? So you got a Facebook. So wait a second. For more information on Alex Xander, go to facebook.com/the Xander Experience.
Yeah.
Xander.
Yeah.
So that's where you find out about the parties.
So we'll you'll go onto the page, and we have like this system where you have to message us and ask us, like it'll be open that we're throwing a party,
right,
but not everyone will get the address. So like we have like a pre-confirmed thing, like guests that have attended before.
Yeah.
You know, they'll automatically be accepted, but guests that are new, you have to kind of go like, oh, who do you know?
So this is just for fun. There's no money involved.
No money.
Wow.
I pay for everything, and
what else you got going on besides this airplane thing, bringing in cash? I mean, did you go to college?
No. I mean, I went for about a month.
You went for a month, and then you started that the toy airplane business.
I've been doing that since I went to Toy Fair for the first time when I was 16 years old.
Wow.
At the Javits Center, and I had to write like a letter to the the company that was throwing Toy Fair.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, I'm 16, but I really need to be here. And they had this really strict thing where they had said you have to be 18 years old, and they said, okay, we'll let you in, but you have to wear a pin that says special guest.
Wow.
Because they didn't want anyone there under 18.
Well, why? They can't handle it.
They couldn't handle it.
Do you own a factory in China?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Well, somebody's got to make those little airplanes.
But he owns the factory.
Yeah, I just got back.
You got back from China?
Yeah, I was there for about 3 weeks.
Got any slaves?
How much does it cost to buy a factory?
Yeah, how much money do you need to buy a factory? That's awesome. I might buy one of those.
Listen, not as much as you would think. Real estate prices there are significantly
way lower. Yeah.
Like for example, when I have a huge space there, and like I'll just throw out a hypothetical number, and they told me I have a guy over there that runs everything, and he's like, well, it's going to be $30,000.
Right.
And I'm like, per month? He said, no, for the year. For the year, for a 3-4 place.
Wow.
You know, so real estate is.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's much cheaper to do business over there, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, America sucks for consumer goods. I used to be all about
let's make America.
Made in America.
Yeah, made America.
Right.
But the stuff that I could do there in a week, here it takes months, and here they give you a harder time, charge you 20 times more. America is good for creativity.
Yes.
And design services and anything service related. But in terms of consumer goods, China is absolutely the way to go.
Did you learn to speak Chinese?
No, I learned like cheers.
Right.
And
what else you got going on beside these toy airplanes? You got any other products coming out?
Sure. I've got this one item that we're releasing right now. It's called the Wallet Ninja. It's like this multi-tool, fits inside of your wallet.
Go ahead.
You want to see one?
Yeah, let me see. What is that?
So
what you're up to. So
I think I left it in the other.
What's it called? Multi-Ninja?
No, it's called the Wallet Ninja. I left it in the other room. It has 16 tools in one, and it's in the size of a credit card.
Like a Swiss Army knife type deal?
A Swiss Army knife. Yeah. Imagine, we can't use that name because that's actually a trademark name, but it's in the size of a credit card. It's a metal piece that goes inside your credit card, and it has like all of those features. And it's TSA approved, so you can take it with you.
Well,
you can take it with you on the plane.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, look at that. Let me see. Maybe I'll get in this.
I'll get you one of those.
Oh, look at that thing. Where do you make these, in China?
Yeah, those we actually make in our own place. That's made out of 4 times heat treated steel. Like, try to bend that sucker.
Yeah, and it's got a cell phone stand in there and all kinds of stuff, huh? Look at you, 19, a little entrepreneur. Kind of dig that. Let me see what other businesses you had.
Yeah, he doesn't need college. He could teach college.
Yeah, right. Yeah, what do you need college for? Let me see. What else did you do when you were a kid? Let's see what. Because I feel like an underachiever. Alex's best-selling product is the Super Looper, a toy plane that you toss, which boomerangs back to you. I've seen that. Alex was top of his class in high school. Yeah, I bet. Oh, you were accepted to Ivy League schools, but you said, "Hey, fuck you.
Yeah,
I don't need school." At age 11, Alex made his first 10 grand by selling a DVD online of himself teaching a levitation trick.
That's a funny one.
Teach me that. Is that hard to do, levitation trick?
It's not hard to do when you know how to. It was a total scam. It's not hard to do when you know how to jump off of a set of stairs and reverse the video.
Oh, that was the trick.
and it was, you know Lance Burton, the master magician out in Las Vegas. She knows.
Yeah.
And he called me when I was like, because I was getting like all sorts of calls,
right,
of people going like, oh, we're gonna sue the hell out of you. I was selling this DVD for $100 each.
Right.
Filmed this in my bedroom. Found some guy off of Craigslist. We hung up a bed sheet.
Right.
And we were selling this DVD for $100.
Wow.
$100 each. Sold 100 copies in a week. And basically, I was getting a bunch of at 11 years old. It was a lot of pressure, man. Getting a lot of threats and I'm gonna kill you. And,
yeah, I bet. I'd be pissed if I got a video from little fucking peckerhead telling me for $100 you're gonna teach me how to levitate, and then you roll the video backwards.
I mean, what are you doing sending $100 to an 11-year-old kid?
Well, I'll tell you, that's some story. Well, Rob, maybe we'll go to one of these parties.
Yeah, got to see what's going on.
You guys
Maybe we'll start throwing them.
Are your parents?
But what is the point of the party? You
have
like
fun.
parties?
Yeah,
just to have fun and meet people.
I get it,
whatever.
because these chicks, they go to the club.
Oh, here we go.
And then these
they don't want to
dudes,
talk to the guys at
They
the
don't want to
club.
talk to anyone like this. We're just chilling and hanging out, smoke some weed, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, we're banging. Right? It's like free love. It's the whole thing.
I mean, we have some free love here also. You know, so some of that happens here also. It's more about just like this general concept. Like,
were your parents pissed when you got arrested?
Well, all right. So I'm a Russian Jew, right? So I have parents that grew up during the times of if they listen to you,
right,
in I don't know, the 80s, they would get thrown in jail. These are the times.
So they're nervous about the police and everything.
So in Russia, when they hear something like arrest or whatever, it's not like arrest here where people here get arrested every day. It's like nothing. It's like, oh, what'd you do today? Oh, I got arrested. I had a coffee. Whatever. So it's
in Russia, you get arrested, they never hear from you.
Never see you again.
They ship
show
you
up
off to Siberia.
Exactly. So they were clearly and obviously nervous and worried, especially the first day. I decided, I'm not going to sleep home tonight. I went somewhere else.
They were pissed.
Yeah, but they woke up in the morning, they open up the New York Post, they see a beautiful 2-page spread.
Right.
And they're like, wow, this is something.
A son knows how to work police.
Yeah.
Do you support your parents financially?
I help.
You do? You help out?
Absolutely.
You're a good son that way. I'll tell you
Absolutely.
that, right?
You got to give, not only do I support my parents, I help everyone that's ever helped me.
So at some point, if you're supporting your parents, you should be able to bang your girlfriend at the house.
At some point,
You're right.
we'll work out some sort of agreement. I don't know how happy my mom will be about that, but we'll work out.
What's your girlfriend do? Is she a model?
She has modeled.
No kidding. Is she older than you?
Yeah, she's older.
How old is she?
22.
Look at you. You're 19. You're getting a 22-year-old.
Oh,
you're living.
She's great.
I bet she is.
Yeah.
Where's the pictures then? Never mind this fucking contraption you just handed me. Where's the pictures of your girlfriend? I want to see that.
I'll text you.
Tell me you have a big penis and I'll fucking freak out. Do you? Are you normal size or are you above average?
I don't know. I would say probably above average.
No kidding. Shit, you got it all going on, dude.
I'm trying.
You're over 6 inches? Out. You don't tell me you haven't measured. Any kid who's inventing little looper planes.
Every kid's measured, It's just like.
What'd you measure at?
It's just a penis. I don't know.
Were you 9 inches? Because I'll kill myself.
All right. I don't want you to kill yourself, Howard.
How tall are you?
6'2".
6'2", and you got 9 inches? I'm 6'5", and I got 1 inch. Okay? Shit, all you kids. I'm sick of it. Good Lord. This kid Flaccid is bigger than me hard. Well, all right, here it is.
How am I going to be the good kid of America now talking to you?
I don't know what you're up to. I can't figure out why you're throwing free parties, but hey, that's cool. Whatever you want to do.
Why am I throwing free parties? Because it's like I'm sure you do some charity stuff. This is
a hobby.
This is it like, I could, I think of it this way, right? You go into a nightclub, you could spend $2,000 on a little table, you get a few bottles of something, you're with 5 of your friends, right?
That's right.
I spend the same $2,000, 1,000 people show up, I'm paying $2 a person to make them happy.
And you're a hero.
Exactly. And I'm paying imagine you could save the world, $2 a person. That's all it's going to cost you to make people happy, $2 a person.
Very nice.
Isn't it all about the mailing list? Come on.
I think it's all about the chicks.
I think it's all about the mailing list. This guy's an entrepreneur.
Right. Hey, why'd you think I went to prison? You told Gary I went to prison.
We were sitting in a cell, right?
Yeah.
And the cop goes, he's like, that's a famous cell in the 84 precinct.
Right.
And I said, why is that? He's like, well, about 9 years ago,
go ahead.
Mike Tyson knocked the guy in the head with his ring, left a mark right here. He was sitting here with us.
Yeah.
And he said a few years later, Howard Stern was sitting in that same cell.
Wow.
What?
That's such a weird story. I've never been to jail.
Oh, you haven't? You've never been arrested?
Never. No.
Never.
No. No, that's not my thing.
This is like, the cop was telling you. So as soon as I heard that, and then later I'm like, this guy Howard is going to be interviewing me.
You know what's kind of weird about that? Like everywhere I go, people have stories about me that just aren't true.
Because,
and they say it like it's the truth. Like I mean,
when you reach a certain level, people think like they're your best friend. Like they know everything about you. They want to know. They know more about your life than you do.
I know. I met 50 guys who all went to college with me. Supposedly, I never even met these guys. Did the cops say what I was arrested for? Maybe I forgot. It seems like I had a much interesting life.
I don't know.
Wow.
No. I just remember like that was, I remember Mike Tyson and Howard Stern.
Man.
So hard to forget those things.
I think
believe Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
don't
right.
believe Howard Stern.
I think Steve Brandano worships this guy Alex. He's like a big fan.
I'm sure he does. Why
One of my guys who works for me. He's like way into it.
I saw you have John Legend here. That's a guy to worship. I'm just like on the come up. I'm trying to do something.
Yeah.
I'm trying to grab onto something like.
Right. You're trying to figure it all out.
Yeah. Being thrown in a million different directions.
Why don't we have a party at the Statue of Liberty?
But you're having fun while you're doing it, right?
Why don't we throw a party at the Statue of Liberty? Let's get working on that, okay?
That's actually.
Is that one of your ideas?
That's run through my head, yeah.
Oh shit! I better hurry up and do that.
But you want to know something that like I'm really being watched right now for what I'm doing next. I was making like an appearance at a party that this other promoter was throwing. I don't consider myself a promoter, by the way, but this other promoter was throwing, and the cops called him and he said, "Listen, if this guy Alexander has anything to do with this, cancel it right now."
Well, they rightly so. They're probably nervous about you because, these kinds of things, there's a reason they have laws and they don't want people just having parties randomly all over the place. Before you know it, there's chaos.
Government are like the fun stoppers.
Yeah, that's what they're supposed to do.
That's exactly right.
Because, like, your fun might mean a traffic jam for me who's trying to get to work.
Yeah.
So I get that.
If you were on the Manhattan Bridge, if you were walking, if you were
if I was driving my car, I would have been pissed.
We weren't affecting the cars driving. No.
People didn't slow down to see the party?
No, you couldn't see it. It was behind the train.
Oh, I see.
And I think the cars are like on the low level. We were up top where the trains were. But whenever the trains would come by, you could watch a video on YouTube of everyone just at the train, just like looking in like this. But the bikes that were coming by, we had this thing whenever a biker would come by, obviously they can't bike through. They would have to lift up their bike. We would make it like their best day ever. We would high-five them, and everybody would cheer, and everybody would be like, "Biker!"
See, I don't like any of that hippie shit. That's not for me. I'm not into fun, I'll be honest with you.
It sounds like the New York Marathon,
Yeah.
Glad handing everybody.
I don't like nonsense. But anyway, so listen, Alex, thanks for stopping by. Wish you luck, and for more information on Alex Zander, go to facebook.com/The Zander Experience.
Yeah, with an X.
And we'll keep tabs on you. We'll find out what you're up to next.
Amazing.
And if you've got a big penis, then you've got it all. That's what I have to tell the young people. I tell all the young people that. All right, we'll be back right after these words. Alex Zander.
So, Alex, I imagine prior to the interview, a lot of stuff going on in your head, what Howard's going to be like as an interviewer, what he's going to ask you. How did that measure up as far as what you thought prior to the interview?
I mean, listen, he's just a regular person like everyone else. I'm sure the shit that's in his head hasn't been fully tapped into, but hopefully I'll be here again and we'll tap into that stuff.
Now you're this young entrepreneurial guy. What do you respect about the empire that Howard's built?
I mean, listen, he has this thing running like a machine. You come in here, and from the time you walk into this building, everything is it's like clockwork. And you know, that's something someone can just aspire to just be able to say, okay, get this done, and it's like you input into the machine, and bam, everything turns out.
Now, if you come back here, let's say a year or so from now, what are you hoping to have accomplished by that point?
Hoping to have a bigger dressing room.
All right, man. Good luck to you.
Thanks.
All right.
Hello, Eric.
Good morning.
Here's Bobby Roode. He made another statement about you. Have you heard this?
No.
All right, here you go.
You got a real feud going, apparently.
Eric, this is from the wrestler Bobby Roode.
Okay, Eric. Here's the deal. You want to come to Bound for Glory? You got it. I'll fly you first class if I have to. I'm going to get you a ticket to the show. A good ticket, not a cheap ticket, a good ticket. And if you want, possibly even get to live your dream and become a professional wrestling manager. That's what you wanted to do your whole pathetic life, isn't it? To be a professional wrestling manager? Well, this might be your opportunity, Eric. But all you have to do is get to Bound for Glory. But here's the deal. When the show is over, I'm going to do something that I've always wanted to do to you. And that's kick your ass and shut you up once and for all. And when I'm through kicking your ass, I'm going to get a bunch of balloons and I'm going to tie them around your pathetic little body. Then I'm going to proceed to drop kick you into the California sky and personally watch you float back to Sacramento to your disgusting apartment and your disgusting bed to do whatever pathetic, disgusting things you do there. That's the deal, Eric. Take it or leave it.
Well, what do you think of that, Eric?
The guy thinks he intimidates me. Yeah, right.
Are you going to take his offer?
I definitely would like to be there. I don't know if his offer sounds like the way I want to do it.
He says he'll fly you there first class, but he's going to... Bobby Roode is amazing. I mean, he's going to take a guy in a wheelchair and
kick his ass.
Who has, the coordination of admittedly, right, Eric, of like a stuffed animal. And he's gonna beat the shit out of you and tie you in with balloons and fly you back to your apartment. I mean, it's amazing.
I love a guy who lives up to his name.
Right, Bobby Roode.
For starters, I don't live in an apartment.
Right.
I live in a house.
Well, I knew that.
And another thing, I have coordination. I used to be a wheelchair athlete.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Really? What game did you play?
Wheelchair, baseball, soccer, and bowling.
Wow.
Well, you know what I mean. In other words, your body is not fully...
You're past your prime.
Right. And your body's not fully usable, let's put it that way. I mean, it's pretty easy to kick your ass. And by the way, not to brag, I happen to be a wheelchair athlete as well and have won several titles. So, thank you. All of my sports, I play in a wheelchair. First of all,
did you know that Eric was a wheelchair athlete?
I did not. And I don't think Eric knew I was one, which is weird because you're probably like, well, Howard, you're not disabled. But I have the abilities of a disabled person. It's the only way I could be good at sports. I play against disabled people. Hey, Robin, it's not that funny.
Well, wait a minute. What do you do when the going gets tough? Do you get up and use your legs?
Yes, I do. Sometimes I stand up and make the shot in the basketball. And everyone's all... I'm like Superman in wheelchair athletics. People are like, wow, this fucking guy's amazing. It's admittedly I cheat, but I don't care. I want to win.
Hey, lots of people are cheating in athletics these days.
By the way, Robin, do you believe that Eric was a wheelchair athlete and was competitive?
No.
I don't either. I really don't. Because Eric's,
I would love to see that league.
Yeah, because Eric's, in my opinion, maybe in some of the worst shape ever in terms of his, disabilities. And I can't even imagine, unless he was playing against guys with, like, CP.
Baseball? Come on.
You have
How
tape
do
of
you hit
that?
a baseball?
You have video of that?
I'm sure I have team photographs.
No, I mean video of you actually playing. Somehow I think that doesn't exist.
I think I have a game or two that was video. I can't remember.
I mean, like, what position did you play?
Well, they pretty much stuck me wherever I wanted to.
Stuck being the key word.
It wasn't where the players had a assigned position.
Did you ever, when you hit, do you use in other words, you hold the bat with both hands and able to hit?
Yeah, off of a baseball tee.
Right. I could do that. I should get into this.
The first league I played with, I actually used a contraption that the creator of the league came up with, an electric bat, which was a bat hooked to a car battery that you hit a button and it swung the bat for you and hit the wiffle ball. But the second league
out.
Sounds like more cheating than A-Rod. I mean, it's barely baseball.
I played where I actually used a wooden bat and a tee.
I tell you, I got to get into this. I could be a superstar. A tee, yeah. Eric is severely disabled.
Well, why would you call yourself an athlete?
Well, hey, he's playing. He's playing some kind of cockamamie game.
Please, he's hitting a button.
Sounds like a video game.
Well,
yeah, they're athletes too.
Oh, life's a bitch.
Second league.
I like that Bobby Roode's going to beat up Eric. That's unbelievable.
See, I would, if I was Eric, I would take him up on this challenge.
Yeah, you got to go, Eric.
Because there is no way this guy's actually going to do this.
I got to see when Bobby Roode sees you in person. He's just going to get on his knees and cry. You got to go. You got to go to this event.
I've seen him in person twice.
Right.
And he's never drop kicked you or anything.
Oh, it would be so great if Bobby Roode actually was out of his mind. I mean, that's the funniest thing I ever heard. All right, I got to go, Eric. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Mr. Del Bonte.
Yes.
It's safe to say that you're pretty anti-Eric. I mean, he's annoyed you over the years.
I am not anti-Eric. I am on a campaign to make him a nicer person.
Okay.
A nicer, very small person.
With that being said, I thought Howard and Robin sort of glossed over something this morning. I mean, they touched on how funny it would be to watch him play sports and in a wheelchair league. But as far as acquiring the footage, do you think the show will go after that with a ferocity to actually obtain footage of Eric trying to play baseball or bowling or something of the like?
Well, does he do any of those things?
No, but he said he might have home video of that. But I thought they kind of glossed over it. Is this too mean even for anti-Eric people, not such as yourself? But
The thing is, I'm very interested in seeing it, but I already have a headache thinking about what it would be like to get from him. So if he were to offer it up, I'll take it. But I'm trying to get like Obama on. I can't spend hours of the day begging for fucking Eric bowling footage. Although I could make the argument that that's way more interesting than Obama.
Exactly.
Got a nice show for you today. We have a couple of people stopping by, one of them being John Legend, who will be performing live. I was looking him up last night on the internet and checking out his girlfriend. She's super hot and naked a lot. And she's giving him the ultimatum. Either you marry me or I'm moving on. I always think that's a weird move. I got to ask him about that. I think more guys head for the hills when they get the ultimatum.
Yeah, but if the woman wants to get married,
Hey, nobody wants to be pushed into something.
But they
Right.
should move on so the woman can move on with her life.
Yeah.
And if that's what she really needs, she ought to say it.
Yeah, the reason most women don't say it is because they know the guy's going to be like, well, okay, maybe you should move on.
And they don't necessarily think they want to. So they go along with it. And
That's
You know, I was telling somebody the other day, though, that if a woman has to work too hard for the marriage, you should never marry her. You should never give in, because then she'll torture you like some other
Right.
people
Because
we
she'll-
know.
That's right, because she'll be angry for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Don't make them work too hard for it.
yeah, oh, yeah. There's going to be resentment.
What's up, it's John Legend. I'm hanging out backstage at the Howard Stern Show, and this is my very first time on the show. Now, I've been warned by my fiance, don't talk too much, because Howard tries to get you to say all kinds of stuff about your sex life and whatnot. So I gotta be diplomatic.
Have your guard up a little bit.
Have my guard up. I'm ready for you, Howard.
All right, John, we'll see you in the studio. Thanks, man.
All right.
How exciting is this?
Howard.
Good to see you.
Morning.
Pleasure.
How are you?
What's happening? Thanks for coming on the
Thank
show.
you. How are you?
You ready? We think the piano's in tune.
Hey.
You'll tell us. What do I know?
Honestly, it doesn't matter that much. I played out-of-tune pianos my whole life.
Just wing it.
John Legend is here. John Legend is, he just sat down at the piano and just started playing at 4 years old.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Are you what's considered a child prodigy?
I mean, I guess I was. I don't think you get to hold that title once you're 34, though.
Yeah, but
you
I'm
give
saying-
it up once you're not a child anymore.
What's that mean at 4 years old? You sat down and were you able to...
No, I wasn't magically able. I took lessons, and I learned pretty quickly. And
was
then,
it a positive experience taking lessons as a kid? The guy who taught you must have thought he was like the greatest teacher in the world, right? Because you...
It was an older lady. I went to a music store around the corner from the house I grew up in.
Yeah.
I grew up in Springfield, Ohio. And she had, she was like this old white church lady, you know?
Yeah.
And she would teach me hymns and classical songs. And
Did she teach you how to read music?
Yeah, but I didn't really focus on that for a long time. I ended up playing by ear mostly.
Most musicians do not know how to read music, right? I mean, professional
Most
musicians.
pop musicians either know very little or don't know at all how to read music.
At what point did you start to surpass your teacher? This is the Superman part I like. Because you were an exceptional musician, at what point does the 4-year-old who's taking lessons become sort of better than the teacher?
Well, I didn't really notice it because I quit taking lessons when I was like 9 or 10, and I wasn't better than her at that point.
Right.
And I started playing by ear a lot more when I was like 8, 9, 10. And so I was playing in church with my grandmother, showing me how to play gospel music. And that's really where I got a lot of my training to play the way I play now.
Yeah, I guess my question is it a calling, or I mean, it's just something that's in you, right? Genetically, almost.
I don't really believe that most talent is totally genetic. I think some of it's genetic, but a lot of it's just nurture.
You're a super smart guy, right? You got scholarships to Harvard, I believe.
Yeah.
Also, where else?
I went to University of Pennsylvania. I got a scholarship to go there.
University of Pennsylvania is Ivy League. You got a
Yeah.
scholarship for music or because of your academic work?
Well, I was number 2 in my high school class.
Look at you.
And
what'd you get on the SAT?
Oh, I forget. It's been a long time.
See,
I think it was
only-
like 1,400 out of 1,600.
No kidding.
Yeah.
See, guys like me don't forget because I don't think I broke 1,000. I'm like a moron.
Once I got into college, my SAT didn't matter anymore. I haven't
You
thought about
of
it since.
Penn. Did your family want to pressure you to get the hell out of music and do something with your life that might have been a little more secure?
I mean, I was the only one in my family that really went away to college, so it wasn't like there was really super high expectations. The fact that I even did that was pretty impressive to everybody in my family, and they just supported me. They always believed in me.
Weren't you, in fact, homeschooled?
I was homeschooled for a few years, yeah.
That's weird, right?
Yeah.
Homeschool. Whose idea was that? Your mother's?
Both of my parents. It's a little weird.
Who wants their kid around that much?
Why did they not want you to go to
Exactly.
school?
Yeah, right. I mean, were you livid over this, or
well,
you
you know, my parents were really religious, and a lot of homeschoolers are like fundamentalist or
Right.
evangelical Christians, and my parents were, you know, evangelical Pentecostal Christians, and so a lot of the times homeschoolers do it because they want to shelter their kids from the world. You know, they want to not have them learn evolution and not have them learn this and that.
Right.
And so a lot of them homeschool their kids because of that.
Right. All right, Jason, that's good with the pictures. You're distracting me. Even. He's doing a whole photo shoot over
I'm
there.
used to it,
I'm
man.
good, yeah. So
are your parents
I'm not.
objecting? Do they object to your secular lifestyle now?
No, they're all good with it.
They like it.
You know, they've gotten more lenient as they've gotten older and more relaxed as they've gotten older. And, you know, our family went through a lot. They got divorced. A lot of things happened. Once they get divorced, you know, they
can understand a lot of things.
They stop being as prudish.
Yeah.
Were your parents musicians?
My dad, neither of them were professional, but my dad played the drums and sang in the church choir. My mother was a choir director at church, so I was just around a lot of musicians all the time.
You've said that you wish, in a way, that your childhood had been rougher, like you had gotten bullied or beaten up or something, because you would be that much more of an